Welcome into another Elmira Pioneers live stream after the Pioneers took down the Newark Pilots last night in Elmira. They have come here and traveled to Auburn to face the Doubledays here with the potential for them to lock up the #1 seed in the West Division Standings playoffs today. However, they need a lot of help, and actually, as I just refreshed my page, it's actually just been lost. They needed help from the Newark Pilots, then the Pilots could not deliver. The situation was that if Newark swept the Batavia Muck Dogs today and the Pioneers were able to defeat the Auburn Doubledays, then the Pioneers would get the #1 seed in the West Division playoffs guaranteed, and it would not matter what would happen for the next 2 days in terms of the season. There are only 2 more games left after today, so the season rapidly winding down. However, the first game in that doubleheader between the Newark Pilots and the Batavia Muck Dogs have already been finished, and Batavia took it down 2-0 over Newark. So already that possibility of the Pioneers locking up that #1 seed is unfortunately gone. However, the Pioneers are still playing to keep themselves in first place. As we take a look at the standings real quick, Pioneers, you can see, are a game ahead of Batavia, and that is not updated as Batavia just won their first game of the doubleheader. But right now, the Pioneers holding over Batavia, and so they need this win in order to keep that #1 spot in the standings, and obviously that comes with home field advantage for the entirety of the West Division playoffs. The only time that the Pioneers would have to go on the road if they were the #1 seed is if they were going to be playing for a league championship, and of course then they would probably have to go to Amsterdam in order to face them for the league title, but it's a long way down the road. And of course the Pioneers, and you can see that Auburn is playing for their playoff lives right now. They are currently on the outside looking in that 5th spot, half a game behind of Niagara. And of course, Niagara, looking around the PGCBL, is currently beating Jamestown 4-1, which is not good for Auburn, which places more emphasis on this game for the Doubledays. If the Doubledays do not win this game, they're going to be on life support for the rest of their season, trying to make the playoffs, as only the top 4 seeds make it. So the Pioneers are going to be facing a very, very motivated Auburn Doubledays team today. And so that will present some challenges for the Pioneers. Pioneers, however, looking to keep not only their win streak going, they are on a 2-game win streak after defeating Newark in back-to-back games. They beat them in Game 2 of the doubleheader on Sunday, and then it beat them last night, 4-2 the final in that one. Griffin Yastrzemski, as I'm going to go do a quick recap of last night's game. Griffin Yastrzemski got the start last night, and Yastrzemski did a pretty good job through about half the game. I think he threw 5 innings, only gave up 1 earned run. And then it was Gardner Meeks who came in to relieve the rest of the game. He was fantastic, had quite a few strikeouts, only gave up 1 earned run. And the final score 4-2 thanks to a 2-run homer from Joe Musio over the right field wall at Dunn Field. It was absolutely electrifying. And Musio back in the lineup today, looking to continue his streak after coming off that home run last night. And so now, looking at the starting lineups here for the Pioneers, I'm going to quickly go through the starting lineup for Auburn actually first. Leading off, it'll be #4, Fernando Espinal, the extra hitter. Batting second, it'll be #5, Carson Gross, the shortstop. Batting third, it'll be #29, Hazel Martinez, the designated hitter. Batting fourth, it'll be #30, Bobby Stang, the catcher, always a thorn in the Pioneers' side. Batting fifth, it'll be #3, A.J. Wenridge, the right fielder. Batting sixth, it'll be #16, Garrett Prosper, the left fielder. Batting seventh, it'll be #23, Michael Woolley, the third baseman. Batting eighth, it'll be #18, Hal Walker Jr., the first baseman. Batting ninth, it'll be #19, Kevin Dolan, the second baseman. Batting 10th, it'll be #34, Emil Sander, the center fielder. And on the mound tonight for the Doubledays, it'll be #37, Huxley Holcomb, who will be getting the start tonight for the Pioneers. Holcomb, a new face at the Pioneers. I don't think they've seen him before. I know Danny Luck was almost the expected pitcher. I thought that's what the Pioneers were going to be seeing tonight from Auburn, but it's Huxley Holcomb who will be getting the start instead. And now I'm going to quickly run through the Elmira Pioneers starting lineup here. Leading off, it'll be #2, Don Presto, the shortstop, and that's an interesting move from Coach Drum, but I will explain why I like that move to put Presto as the leadoff man once I've gone through the rest of the lineup. Batting second, it'll be #77, Joe Musio, the designated hitter. Batting third, it'll be #10, John Schroeder, the right fielder. Batting fourth, it'll be #8, Cooper Smith, the left fielder. Batting fifth, it'll be #44, Chris Bear, the second baseman. Batting sixth, it'll be #14, Jake Keller, the first baseman. Batting seventh, it'll be #33, Kevin Noss, the center fielder. Batting 8th, it'll be number 22, Nick Bisaccia, the third baseman. Batting 9th, it'll be number 16, Christian Zeely, the extra hitter. And batting 10th, it'll be number 15, Brody Bartenstein, the catcher. And on the mound tonight for the Pioneers, getting another start, it will be number 88, Joseph Keltson, who will be getting the start tonight for the Pioneers. The Pioneers, this will be Keltson's last start before the playoffs, and Yastrzemski, same for him, as he pitched last night. He probably won't be pitching again until the playoffs, as the Pioneers are throwing their big two tonight and last night, and then they're saving the rest for the playoffs, and then it'll be a mix of interesting pitchers and probably position player pitchers throughout the next 2 days. And of course, that depends on what happens tonight, whether the Pioneers win or lose, and what happens with the doubleheader against Batavia and Newark. And now I'm going to talk about why Presto is the leadoff man and why I like that move. So Don Presto, number 2, will be leading off tonight. He has never been the leadoff man before. He has always been either the 6, 7, or 8 hitter. He's not normally been towards the top of the lineup. The top of the lineup for the Pioneers has really been set. It's been the leadoff man that is changing. And the reason why Don Presto is the leadoff man is because he has a great on-base percentage. He actually has one of the highest on the roster. And that is because he's great in the batter's box in terms of drawing walks and getting on base. He does a good job of that. He draws a lot of walks. And so if Presto can get on base, and then you have a leadoff runner, and then you're talking about Muzio, Schroeder, Smith, and Bear up after him, that's a great stretch of guys that can potentially then drive in Presto. And then all of a sudden you're talking about runs for the team. And overall, I think it's a really good move, as Presto, he's going to be the guy who pretty much is going to just be tasked with getting on base, either getting a single or drawing a walk. And as long as Don Presto can get on base, the rest of the lineup has just the job of batting him in and trying to get the rest of them on. And so really, I quite like Presto as the leadoff guy because he gets on base a lot between walks and singles. He has been hot as of late, and so I really think that's a good move by head coach Drummond. Also, interesting to see that Cooper Smith will be in left today. Normally a right fielder, but he'll be playing left today. And I think that's because Schroeder's going to be in right and then Noss in center. Bisaccia at third is also something that's not traditionally been seen. Bisaccia has been a lot at second, and shortstop is mainly the two positions for him. But he'll be at third today, and I think that's because Joe Muzio is going to be the DH. Muzio has played a lot of first and third. So a little bit of a shuffling around of not only the lineup, but a lot of the positions for a lot of the players. So it'll be really interesting to see how that pans out for the Pioneers. I personally really like this lineup. I think Coach Trump has come up with a clever lineup here to get some runs for the Pioneers. And of course, with Kelton on the mound tonight, the Pioneers are feeling pretty good that they can not only get hits, but also hopefully hold the Doubledays to a lot less runs. And now, of course, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, looking at the upcoming schedule, there are just 2 games left of the regular season for the Pioneers. But in the PGCBL regular season, of course, they have already locked up a home field game in round 1, playoff game, I should say. As well, I should have put that on my schedule, but I didn't. But anyway, just to an announcement, if you haven't seen it, it's been on Facebook, it's been all over social media for the Pioneers. The Pioneers will be hosting a first-round playoff game. It is TBD as to their opponent. We'll have to wait and find out. We probably won't know until the very last day. But on Sunday, July 30th at 4 p.m., there will be a home first-round playoff game at Dunn Field. Tickets are free, and so everyone in the public can come in and attend that ball game. And I know everyone's very excited about that. We're once again waiting to see whether the Pioneers are going to get the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed. It's a lot to do with what happens with Batavia in that doubleheader. I'll be updating you guys throughout Game 2 of that doubleheader today. And then also it depends on what happens with the Pioneers. They need to win their own game. They need to take care of business tonight. And so really it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Pioneers have at least got the 2nd seed locked up, though. That is guaranteed. And the Pioneers, of course, in their road blues with their gray pants and blue caps. Auburn in their white home jerseys with blue caps and white pants. And the Pioneers are riding high right now, coming off that win. A lot of the players I know were really excited that they locked up a home playoff game last night. And so they're riding high here, coming into Auburn today. And so really, this is a good opportunity for the Pioneers to extend their winning streak to 3 games. I believe the longest winning streak of the season for the Pioneers was 4 games. That was at some point during the middle point of the season, I believe in late June or early July. I know the longest losing streak was also at 4 games for the Pioneers this season. So it's been a seesaw season for the Pioneers, but also sitting at their record of 26 and 15, they have now well surpassed their last season's record. Last season records for the Pioneers, they were 24 and 21 in the number 4 seed in the playoffs last year. They're fighting for the number 1 seed at 26 and 15 this year. So it's been night and day between last year's team and this year's team. And I think this team's roster has proven themselves to be a lot better. And I think that they can definitely be the number 1 team in the Western Division. And of course, in all likelihood, if the season were to end right now, then if the season were to end today, the Pioneers would be the 1 seed and they'd be playing Niagara, who is the current 4 seed, in the first round, and then they'd be playing the winner of Jamestown and Batavia in round 2 before potentially playing Amsterdam in the championship series. And so now, as the lineup is being read out for Amsterdam, and then quickly the national anthem will be happening after that. I'm going to take a quick step away, and I'll be back once the national anthem is over. Talk more about Joseph Kelton, who'll be on the mound first after the national anthem. Welcome back here now after a beautiful rendition of the national anthem, and I actually was wrong. It's I forgot this is a road game, so it'll actually be Huxley Holcomb who will be on the mound first for the Doubledays here to be leading off. It'll be Dom Presto who will be leading off against Huxley Holcomb. Holcomb so far making his 8th start of the season as a 2.13 ERA and a 2-2 record so far this season. He's pitched 38 innings, only given up 24 hits and 15 walks and has 40 strikeouts this season. So Holcomb has been very, very good for the Doubledays. So this is going to be potentially a pitching duel here between Kelton and Holcomb. So this could be a very, very low scoring affair. We'll have to wait and find out, but Holcomb seems to have really good stats backing him up. Of course, stats aren't everything, but it does look like it's going to be leaning towards a pitching duel between Kelton and Holcomb. And so currently looking around the rest of the PGCBL, Niagara is beating Jamestown 4-1 in that game. That game doesn't really matter to the Pioneers too much, but it does matter to the Doubledays because the Doubledays are only half a game behind the Niagara Power. So if Niagara wins, that hurts Auburn, especially if they lose. That'd be devastating for the Doubledays. It wouldn't necessarily eliminate them, but it make it really hard for the Doubledays to make the playoffs. So the Auburn Doubledays fighting for their playoff lives today, and it shows with them putting Holcomb on the mound. And now, as it looks like Holcomb is warmed up here, and so it'll be number 2, Dom Presto, leading off here. Presto making his 21st start as a 226 batting average, 10 runs, 12 hits, 1 double, 7 RBIs, 4 walks, 11 strikeouts, and 6 stolen bases so far this season. Last time we saw him out was last night versus Newark. And like I said before, Presto trying to be the leadoff man, trying to get on base. Holcomb now, as we were about ready to get going in this one, will now set, deal, swung on a pop back foul and out of play. That was right field side. So the count will go 0-1 as this game is officially underway. So 0-1 the count to Presto. No outs here in the top of the first. Holcomb 0-1. And today, luckily for me, we are in Auburn, so I do have a radar gun to help me identify the pitches. That was in there. Called strike 2 at 77 miles per hour from Holcomb, so probably a changeup off speed. 0-2 the count to Presto. No outs here in the top of the first still. Holcomb 0-2. Well, now set, deal. That one is in there. Called strike 3 at 91 miles per hour. A fastball by Holcomb, and Presto goes down looking. That'll put one out here in the top of the first. That pitch was sizzling. That's the first pitch I've actually seen at 91 miles per hour, clocked by a radar gun. And so now that'll bring up number 77, Joe Muzio, the designated hitter. Muzio coming off of that 2-run homer last night, making his 30th start as a 237 batting average. As that one is upstairs and outside, ball 1 to Muzio at 80 miles per hour from Holcomb. So 1-0 count to Muzio. Muzio also has 14 runs, 22 hits, 5 doubles, 1 triple, and 1 home run so far this season. Of course, that home run came in last night's game. Holcomb will set deliver. That is down low for ball 2. So 2-0 the count. That one was in there at 88 miles per hour. Another fastball from Holcomb. So Holcomb, what I'm getting from him so far in this first couple of pitches is that he has a fastball, 88 to 91. So low 90s, probably high 80s. And then changeup, curveball, and off speed probably around high 70s. Holcomb now will set, deal, swung on a popped up in the left. That is down the third base line, and that is foul and out of play. That was a fastball at 87 miles per hour. So 2-1 the count now to Muzio. 1 out here in the top of the first. And so now, Holcomb 2-1. Well, now set, deal, swung on a driven. That's a base hit into center. A very good start for Joe Muzio. Coming off that home run last night, he now has a single in this game. And with 1 out here in the top of the first, there is a runner on first for the Pioneers. And now that'll bring on number 10, John Schroeder, the right fielder. Schroeder making his 39th start, which leads the team by a mile in terms of games played. 328 batting average, 23 runs, 38 hits, 6 doubles, 7 triples, which is a team record, by the way. 1 home run, 24 RBIs, 26 walks, 22 strikeouts, and 11 stolen bases. Holcomb looks over to Muzio. Now will set, deliver, swung on a popped up. That is right field side and foul and out of play. So 0-1 the count to Schroeder. 1 out here in the bottom of the first. That was at 75 miles per hour from Holcomb. So off speed. Muzio over there at first. Holcomb 0-1. We'll look over to Muzio. And now we'll set, deal. That one is down low in there. Called strike 2. That was a fastball at 87 miles per hour. So 0-2 the count to Schroeder here. 1 out in the top of the first. And so now Holcomb 0-2 will look over to Muzio. And now Holcomb will set, deliver. That is upstairs and outside for ball 1. That was at 91 miles per hour, sizzling as it came in. 1-2 the count to Schroeder on a fastball that was upstairs and outside. So Holcomb will once again look over to Muzio. Muzio takes his lead over there at first. Holcomb 1-2. Well, now set, deliver, swung on and missed. Or excuse me, actually, Schroeder just got a piece of that. So He will be a drop-through strikeout on 76 miles per hour. That'll be a strikeout for Holcomb. That's 2 Ks for him so far. And that'll put 2 outs here in the top of the first. And now that'll bring up number 8, Cooper Smith, the left fielder. Smith so far making his 29th start as a .314 batting average, 13 runs, 27 hits, 6 doubles, 2 triples. As Holcomb will set deal, that one is upstairs at 87 miles per hour. Another fastball from Holcomb. He likes to just try and blow pitches by hitters. And so far, it's been working all right for him. 1-0 the count to Smith. Muzio still off first. 2 outs here in the top of the first. Holcomb now, 1-0. We'll look over to Muzio. And now we'll set deliver. That one is just upstairs for ball 2. Once again, another 85 mile per hour fastball. Back-to-back fastballs for Smith. I wouldn't be surprised if Holcomb goes to the off speed here on this 2-0 count. Holcomb 2-0. Well, now set deliver. That is upstairs for ball 3. And that was off speed at 76 miles per hour. So 3-0 the count to Smith. And there was a quick check over from Stang over to first and to Walker Jr., but Muzio got back in time. So 3-0 the count to Smith. 2 outs here in the top of the first. Muzio off of first for the Pioneers. Holcomb now will set, deliver. That one is in there. Called strike 1 on an 84 mile per hour fastball. So 3-1 the count now to Smith. 2 outs here in the top of the first. If Smith is walked, that would bring up Bear with 2 outs here in the top of the first and 2 runners on. Holcomb 3-1 will set deal. That is swung on a driven left field side foul. That one was off speed at 76 miles per hour. So 3-2 the count now as it goes full to Cooper Smith. 2 outs here in the top of the first. Muzio still on first for the Pioneers. And so now Holcomb 3-2, full count. Well, now set deal, and Muzio will calmly walk over to second. He was going to try and steal, but that is ball 4 upstairs anyway on a fastball at 87 miles per hour. So that is a walk for Smith. Now runners on first and second here for the Pioneers with 2 outs here in the top of the first. And now that'll bring up number 44, Chris Bear, the second baseman. Bear making his 17th start as a .313 batting average, 5 runs, 15 hits, 2 doubles. Holcomb now. Well, set deal. Muzio's going to try and steal. That one is in there. Called strike 1, and Smith is out. Wow, really? I'm surprised they did not call Smith out on that. It looked like Dolan had the clean out at second, but they're going to rule that the Cooper Smith foot got there before Dolan could get the tag. The throw was in front of Smith and in front of second base, so Dolan had to turn around in order to tag up Smith. And by the way, Muzio was stealing third, so both runners advanced. Both runners stole. 0-1 the count to Bear. Holcomb will set deal. That one is just downstairs and upstairs and outside for ball 1. So 1-1 the count to Bear as it will even up. By the way, that first pitch was called strike 1. That last pitch, though, was at 78 miles per hour off speed. So 1-1 the count to Bear. 2 outs here in the top of the first. Holcomb will set deal. Swing and a miss by Bear on an 88 mile per hour fastball upstairs in the zone. So the count will go 1-2 now. 2 outs here in the top of the first, and runners on second and third for the Pioneers. Holcomb now 1-2. Bear, a chance to drive in some runs. Swing and a miss, and Bear goes down swinging. That is the third strikeout of the inning for Holcomb. So he struck out the side, just simply not in order. That will end the top of the first. No runs for the Pioneers as they strand runners on second to third. We go to the bottom of the first right after this. Welcome back into the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the first inning here. Pioneers in Doubledays still deadlocked at zeros, and it'll be number 88, Joseph Kelson, here you are watching warm up. And now talking a little bit more about Kelson. He has made 3 appearances, making his 7th start today as a 2.07 ERA in 39 innings pitched. He's given up 41 hits, only 11 runs, which is just crazy. Only 9 of those runs earned, 21 walks, and has 28 strikeouts so far this season. He has a 2-2 record in terms of wins and losses. Last time we saw him pitch, it was on the 22nd of July versus Auburn, versus the same Doubledays team, where he threw for 7 innings, only gave a 1 earned run on 7 hits, and had 6 strikeouts. Kelson's arsenal, by the way, fastball, curveball, changeup, and slider. And with the radar gun above my head, I will be able to probably tell the pitches for Kelson much better. Kelson will set deal. That one is in there. Called strike one at an 83 mile per hour. I believe that's probably the fastball from Kelson. 0-1 against number 4, Fernando Espinal, the extra hitter. Kelson now will set deal. That one is in there just down low for ball 1. That was a slider. So 1-1 the count now at 76 miles per hour, by the way. 1-1 the count to Espinal. No outs here in the bottom of the first. Kelson will set deal, swung on a driven over to third, and Basaccio will field it and throw to first in time, and that will be 1 away. A very nice throw by Basaccio over there at third, and that'll make it 1 out here in the bottom of the first. And now that I'm bringing up number 5, Carson Gross, the shortstop, who's a very familiar face to the Pioneers. Gross has pretty much played every game for the Doubledays against the Pioneers this season. And so he'll be stepping in here with 1 out in the bottom of the first. Kelson now will set deal. That is upstairs and outside for ball 1. A fastball that missed at 83 miles per hour. So 1-0 the count to Gross. 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Kelson now 1-0 will set deliver. That is upstairs and outside for ball 2. Another 83 mile per hour fastball. So 2-0 the count to Gross. Kelson 2-0. Well, now shake off 1 pitch. And now we'll set deliver. That one is just outside. Ball 3. Another 82 mile per hour fastball. 3 straight fastballs for Kelson, all outside. So 3-0 the count to Gross. Kelson needs a strike here to get back in the count, and he will just be down low for ball 4. So that'll be a walk for Gross on an 80 mile per hour pitch. So that'll be a walk for Gross to put a runner on first here for the Doubledays with 1 out in the bottom of the first. And now that'll bring up number 29, Hazel Martinez, the designated hitter. Martinez, another familiar face for the Doubledays. He'll be stepping in here with 1 out in the bottom of the first. Kelson now will set deal. That one is just upstairs and outside for ball 1. Another 82 mile per hour fastball from Kelson, I should say. 1-0 the count to Martinez. 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Gross off first for the Doubledays. Kelson now 1-0, nods. Oh, this is his tell. He's going to check over, and he does. Kelson, that is something to note. Kelson, whenever he nods his head a bunch when there's a base runner on, it means he's going to check over to first. So 1-0 the count, and Martinez will swing and drive that one right field side. That is foul and out of play. So the count will even up 1-1 to Martinez. That was off speed from Kelson, probably a curveball at 72 miles per hour. And so now Kelson 1-1 will set deal. That one is just down low for ball 2. That was probably another curveball. 2-1 the count to Martinez as he will take the lead. Gross still over there at first for the Doubledays. 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Kelson now will set deal. That is outside for ball 3. So 3-1 the count now to Martinez. That was a fastball at 81 miles per hour outside. So 3-1 the count to Martinez. Kelson looking for a strike here to stave off the walk. Kelson now 3-1. Well, now set deal. That one is in there. Called strike 2. That was a fastball that just caught the outside upstairs corner of the strike zone. So full count now to Martinez. 3-2. 1 out here in the bottom of the first. Gross off of first for the Doubledays. And presto, all the way in here. Kelson 3-2 will set deal. Swung on a driven over to Bear at second. Bear will turn to Presto at second. Throw to first. And that will not be in time. So that'll just be a fielder's choice out as Martinez is just able to beat out the throw at first, but the runner at second in Gross was out. So that'll put 2 outs on the board here in the bottom of the first, and Hazel Martinez will reach on a fielder's choice. And that was a very good at-bat there, or excuse me, a very good job there by Kelson in order to battle back and get the ground out. And so now that'll bring up number 30, Bobby Sting, my least favorite Doubleday. He's always a thorn in the side of the Pioneers. And he's the catcher today for the Doubledays. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. Kelson will set deal. That is down low and outside. Bartenstein, that one got away from him, but Martinez was not aware. And so he will stay at first. Martinez still at first, and Bartenstein got a break there. And so now 1-0 the count to Sting as that was down low and outside. A fastball. Kelson 1-0 against Sting. Sting always a very tough out, so this will be a tough last out for Kelson. Kelson shaking off a couple pitches. Martinez still at first for the Doubledays. Kelson will set deal, swung on a driven over to third, and that'll be a base hit in the left as Bisaccia cannot reach it. And so that'll be a single for Sting, and that is why he is my least favorite Doubleday, and he's always a thorn in the side because he is so tough to get out. And so Stang will be on first, and Martinez will be on second now for the Doubledays with 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. And after Stang singled, and now that'll bring up number 3, A.J. Wenrich, the right fielder. Kelson now will look into Wenrich. Kelson 2 outs here in the bottom of the first, so any out ends the inning for Kelson. Kelson now looks over to Martinez and will set deal. That one is in there. Called strike one on a fastball. 0-1 the count out of Wenrich. That was 82 mile per hour fastball, by the way. Kelson 0-1 looks into Wenrich. And now looks over to Martinez off of second. And now will set deal. Swing and a miss by Wenrich on another fastball. Blew right by him. So 0-2 the count to Wenrich. That was at 84 miles per hour. Tied for the fastest pitch that Kelson has thrown. Kelson looking for his first strikeout here on this 0-2 count to Wenrich. 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. This would end the bottom of the first inning for Kelson. Kelson 0-2, looks over to Martinez, and now will set deal. That is way outside for ball 1. That was the fastest pitch that Kelson has thrown. That was 85 miles per hour on a fastball that missed outside. So 1-2 the count still, or excuse me, 1-2 the count now to Wenrich. 2 outs here still in the bottom of the first. Staying off first, Martinez off second for the Doubledays. Kelson will set deal. Check swing there. Are they going to say he went there or not? So that is going to be ball 2 outside on a slider that missed. And so the count will even up at deuces wild here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the first. A big pitch coming up for Kelson. Trying to still get the first strikeout in order to end the bottom of the first inning here. Kelson looks over to Martinez and now will set deal. Swing and a miss by Wenrich. He got the strikeout. That is the first strikeout of the ballgame for Joseph Kelson, and that will end the bottom of the first inning. Doubledays get no runs in the bottom of the first. We go to the top of the second, where the Pioneers will look to get the lead right after this. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the second inning here. Huxley Holcomb back on the mound for the Doubledays here to start the top of the second. It'll be number 14, Jake Keller, leading off here for the Pioneers, the first baseman tonight. Keller, making his 31st start, has a 242 batting average, 12 runs, 22 hits. That one is outside and upstairs for ball one on a fastball at 86 miles per hour. So 1-0 the count to Keller. No outs here in the top of the second. Holcomb now 1-0. Well, now set, deliver. That one is in there. Called strike one. Inside fastball at 85 miles per hour. In there for a strike. So 1-1 the count out of Keller as the count will even up. No outs here in the top of the second. Holcomb 1-1. Well, now set, deliver. That one is in there. No, that's actually inside for ball two. That was off speed at 77 miles per hour from Holcomb. So Keller will take the lead in the count 2-1. Holcomb 2-1. Well, now set, deliver. That one is upstairs for ball three at 87 miles per hour. Holcomb with a little more velocity than Kelton, but not much. Kelton's fastest pitch that he just threw was 85. So far, we've seen 91 from Holcomb. 3-1. Holcomb will set, deliver. That one is in there. Called strike two. Now it was a little bit lower velocity from Holcomb, only at 82 miles per hour, but it still caught the middle of the zone. So 3-2 the count now as it goes full to Keller. No outs here on the top of the second. Holcomb 3-2. Will now set, deliver, swung on a driven. That is right field side and fouled back. And so the count will stay full to Keller. That was at 88 miles per hour. So Holcomb tried to blow that fastball right by Keller. Keller able to fight it off and get a piece of it. So still 3-2 the count to Keller here. No outs in the top of the second. Holcomb now 3-2. Will set, deliver. That is swung on a driven weakly over to second, and it'll be Dolan who throws to Walker Jr. in time, and that will be one away. So a ground out by Keller here in the top of the second. We'll put one out here. And now that'll bring up number 33, Kevin Noss, the center fielder tonight. Noss making his 21st start as a 235 batting average, 8 runs, 12 hits. 5 RBIs, 8 walks, 16 strikeouts, and 6 stolen bases as Holcomb will set deal. That is a swing and miss by Noss on an 89 mile per hour fastball. So 0-1 the count to Kelton. That velocity is getting back up there for Holcomb. 0-1 the count to Noss. 1 out here in the top of the second. Holcomb will set deal. That one is in there. Called strike 2. So 0-2 the count now. That was a fastball inside at 87 miles per hour. So 0-2 the count to Noss. 1 out here in the top of the second. Holcomb 0-2 will set deal. Swing and a miss by Noss. He goes down swinging, and that will be the second out here for Holcomb in the top of the second. That was an 89 mile per hour fastball that blew right by Noss. And so now that'll bring up number 22, Nick Bisaccia, the third baseman. Bisaccia will be stepping in here. Bisaccia making his 14 start, has a 188 batting average as Holcomb will set deal. That is a swing and a miss on an 89 mile per hour fastball. These fastballs are blowing right by the Pioneers' bottom of the order. 0-1 the count to Bisaccia. 2 outs here in the top of the second. Holcomb will set, deliver. That one is down low and inside. That is ball one. They are not going to give it to him that time. So the count will even up 1-1 to Bisaccia. That was another fastball from Holcomb. 88 miles per hour. 1-1 the count to Bisaccia. 2 outs here in the top of the second. Holcomb now will set deal. That is in there. Cold strike 2. Just caught the outside edge on a 74 mile per hour off speed pitch from Holcomb and froze up Bisaccia there. All he saw was fastballs, and then all of a sudden he throws a curveball in there. Bisaccia froze up. 1-2. Holcomb will set deal. That is upstairs for ball 2. That was a 91. That is tied for Holcomb's fastest pitch of the day. That was a 91 mile per hour fastball that just missed upstairs. So the count will go deuces wild here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the second. Holcomb now 2-2. Will set, deliver. That one is down low for ball 3. That was another curveball at 79 miles per hour. So 3-2 the count now to Bisaccia. It would be big if Bisaccia can draw a walk here. Holcomb 3-2. 2 outs here in the top of the second. Holcomb now will set, deal, swung on it, popped up in the center. Center fielder Sanders going back, and he will make the play. And so that'll be a fly out by Bisaccia to end the top of the second inning. And that was a 1-2-3 inning for Huxley Holcomb. And we go to the bottom of the second where Kelton will look to do the same right after this.
I came in for an interview and I started driving. My name is Randy Ramnarayan. I'm the Director of Transportation here at TransDev, and I've been here on property for 16 years. People come up to you and say, hey, I remember you as an operator and you did this for me. And it just overwhelms me, and it makes me so joyful to know that I made a difference. Everyone from the CEO, COO, all the way down, it's the same message. Customer engagement, employee engagement. This is what we do here at TransDev.
Have a nice day.
It's not a job that you gotta drag yourself out of bed to get here. It's you wake up every morning excited to be here. This is the most wonderful place to work.
Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the second inning here. Pioneers and Doubledays still deadlocked at 0 runs apiece. It'll still be number 88, Joseph Kelton, out there for the Pioneers to start the bottom of the second. And leading off this inning for the Doubledays, it'll be number 16, Garrett Prosper, the left fielder. Prosper, a familiar face for the Doubledays. He's faced the Pioneers several times. Kelton will set deal. That one is in there. Called strike one on a fastball. So 0-1 count now to Prosper on an 82-mile-per-hour fastball. Kelton now 0-1. Will set, deliver. That is down low and outside for ball one. That was probably a slider that missed outside at 76 miles per hour. Kelton 1-1. Will now set, deliver. That one is down low and outside for ball two. Another slider that missed at 74 miles per hour. So 2-1 the count to Prosper as he will take the lead. No outs here in the bottom of the second. Kelton 2-1. Well, now set, deal, swung on a popped up, skied, and Bisaccia will be coming in on the third baseman, and he will make the play. That is a pop out by Prosper to put one out here in the bottom of the second inning. And so now that'll bring up number 23, Michael Woolley, the third baseman. Woolley, another familiar face that the Pioneers have faced several times before. One out here in the bottom of the second. Kelton now will set, deliver, swung on a driven. That is a base hit into center on the first pitch. And that'll be a single for Woolley. And so runner on first here now for the Doubledays with only one out here in the bottom of the second. That was the slowest pitch that Kelton's thrown at 70 miles per hour. I think that might have been a changeup for him. Kelton. And so now he will have to face. Swung on a driven. That's a base hit in the left by Hal Walker Jr. And so now the curveball, that was at 69 miles per hour. Back-to-back singles here given up by Kelton on the curveball. With only one out here in the bottom of the second. It'll be Hal Walker Jr. at first. And it'll be Woolley at second. And now that'll bring on number 19, Kevin Dolan, who's a new face to the Doubledays lineup. I don't think he's faced the Pioneers yet. Kelton only one out here in the bottom of the second, but the double play is available for Kelton in order to get him out of the inning. Kelton now will set, deal. That is upstairs and outside for ball one. That was a fastball at 81 miles per hour. So 1-0 the count to Dolan. One out here in the bottom of the second. Kelton looking for a second out here or the double play. That's also available. Kelton 1-0 will set, deal, swung on and pop back. That was another fastball at 81 miles per hour. And so that'll even up the count at aces wild here to Kevin Dolan. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the bottom of the second. Still runners on first and second for the Doubledays with only 1 out here in the bottom of the second. Kelson looks in, 1-1. And now Dolan will ask for a time as he will step out of the batter's box. Dolan ready now. Will step back in. Kelson looks over to Woolley at second, and now will set deal. That one is down low for ball 2. That was another curveball at 73 miles per hour. So 2-1 the count to Dolan as he will take the lead. 1 out here in the bottom of the second. Kelson looks over to Woolley. And now he will set deal. That is just caught the outside edge of the corner at 82 miles per hour. That just caught the outside edge. So that'll even up the count at 2-2 to Dolan. This would be a big strikeout for Kelson here. If he can get it here, it would be his second strikeout of the game. 2-2. Kelson will set deal. That one is in there. Cold strike 3. He struck him out. And that will be the second strikeout of the ball game for Joseph Kelson. And that will put 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. A massive strikeout for Kelson there to put 2 outs on the board. And now that'll bring up number 34, Emil Sander, the center fielder. Sander has faced the Pioneers before. He's been in the Doubledays lineup before against the Pioneers. However, I don't think he has the reps as someone like Gross does. That one is just down low and outside for ball 1 at 83 mile per hour fastball. So 1-0 the count to Sander. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Still runners on first and second for the Doubledays. Kelson now 1-0 will set deal. That one is just inside for ball 2 on a curveball that missed. That was a 74 mile per hour curveball. So 2-0 the count to Sander. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Kelson will look over to Woolley. And that will set, deliver. That one is in there. Cold strike 1 on a fastball, 82 miles per hour. So 2-1 the count to Sander. 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Kelson, any out will end the inning for Kelson and get him out of this runners on first and second jam. Kelson 2-1 will set deal. That is just on the outside edge and missed. So that'll be a fastball that misses. It makes the count 3-1 now to Sander. And Kelson does not want to walk Sander here as it would load the bases for the Doubledays and bring the Doubledays back to the top of their order. Kelson will set deal 3-1. Well, that'll be a base hit in the center, and now that will score Woolley at least on an RBI single by Sander. The Auburn Doubledays have a 1-0 lead. Sander gets a single up into center field, and that was enough for Woolley to get around. And so 1-0 ball game now. Still 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. And now that'll bring up number 4, Fernando Espinal, the extra hitter. He grounded out in his first at bat. So now Kelson looking to get 1 more out in order to get out of this inning. Still runners on first and second for the Doubledays. It'll simply be Walker Jr. at second. And now that one is just upstairs for ball 1 and a curveball at 73 miles per hour. So 1-0 the count to Espinal. 2 outs here still in the bottom of the second. Kelson looks over to Walker Jr. And now Kelson will set deal. That is way outside for ball 2. Fastball, I think that slipped out of Kelson's hand. Kelson 2-0 with 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Kelson looking to try and get out of this inning and get the bats back up for the Pioneers. Kelson 2-0. We'll look over and now we'll set, deliver, swung on a driven into center, and Nuss will come under and he will make the play. A fly out by Espinal and a great lunging play by Nuss to keep it a 1-0 ball game. Kelson does give up a run, but he keeps it just to that as we go to the top of the third. Pioneers will look to answer right after this. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the third inning here. Pioneers currently down to the Doubledays 1-0. Huxley Holcomb back on the mound for the Doubledays, and it'll be number 16 Christian Zealy leading off here for the Pioneers, the extra hitter tonight. Holcomb now will set deal, swung on it, popped up in the right, and that is out of play, foul, and so the count will go 0-1 to Zealy. That was at 85 miles per hour. The fastball from Holcomb. Holcomb has been very effective with his fastball so far and has a high velocity. We've seen him throw 91 miles per hour so far in this one. Holcomb on one. One out set, deliver. That one is just inside for ball one. That is a curveball at 77 miles per hour. So 1-1 the count out of Zealy as it'll even up. No outs here in the top of the third. Pioneers looking for the bottom of their order to try and get on here as that one is fouled back by Zealy. So the count will go 1-2 to Zealy. No outs here in the top of the third. That was an 86 mile per hour fastball from Holcomb. Holcomb 1-2. Will now set, deliver, swing and a miss by Zealy on a curveball at 72 miles per hour. That is the fifth strikeout of the ball game for Huxley Holcomb, and that'll put one out here in the top of the third. And so now that'll bring on number 15, Brody Bartenstein, the catcher. Bartenstein so far this season making his 16th start, has a 184 batting average, 8 runs, 7 hits, 11 walks, 10 strikeouts, and 1 stolen base so far this season. Holcomb will set deal. That is a swing and a miss by Bartenstein, and the count will go 0-1. That is his 76 mile per hour curveball. That curveball has been so effective because it's just a wide difference of velocity, and it's the difference in velocity that's been throwing off the Pioneers' bats. Holcomb will set deal. That one is in there. Called strike one, or excuse me, called strike two. That was an 88 mile per hour fastball, and that's what I'm talking about, is that Holcomb's pitches vary so much in velocity because he throws 88 to 91 mile per hour fastball, and then he just comes at you with a 77 mile per hour curveball. It freezes up the hitters, and that one is in there. Called strike three, and that's exactly what I was talking about. Fastball at 89. That is back-to-back strikeouts for Huxley Holcomb, and that'll put 2 outs here in the top of the third. And now that'll bring us back to the top of the order. And the number 2, Dom Presto, the shortstop, struck out in his first at bat. That is the 6th strikeout for Holcomb already in this ball game. Holcomb will set deal. That is I think that slipped out of Holcomb's hand as that one was about 10 feet right of the right batter's box and way out of play. I think that, yeah, that was his curveball. That simply just didn't curve, so that was at 75 miles per hour. So 1-0 the count to Presto. As Huxley completely lost that one. Holcomb now, 1-0, will set deal. Swung on a driven third base side. That is just foul, as it's about a foot right, or excuse me, foot left of the third base line. That was another fastball at 85 miles per hour. So 1-1 the count to Presto as it'll even up. 2 outs here in the top of the third. It'll be the top of the order. And the heart of the order now for the Pioneers that'll be coming up. But with 2 outs here in the top of the third, they have to be careful. Holcomb 1-1. Will now set deal. Swung on it, popped up in the right. That might get down. No, it won't, as the first baseman, Hal Walker Jr. will scoop it up. So that'll be a pop out by Presto to end the top of the third inning. Once again, the Pioneers come up empty. Don't even get a base runner in that inning. And we go to the bottom of the third. Kelston will look to try and shut out the Doubledays again right after this. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the third inning here. Pioneers currently down to the Doubledays 1-0, and it'll still be Joseph Keltson on the mound for the Pioneers here to start the bottom of the third. And leading off this inning for the Doubledays, it'll be number 5, Carson Gross, the shortstop. Gross was walked in his first at-bat. Keltson now will set deal. That is crushed. Right field side. That is foul and out of play. That was Keltson's fastball at 82 miles per hour. 0-1 the count to Gross as that was foul and out of play. No outs here in the bottom of the third. Keltson now 0-1 will lean in. And now he will set fire. That is upstairs for ball 1. Another fastball at 83 miles per hour. So 1-1 the count. It'll even up to Gross. No outs here in the bottom of the third. Keltson 1-1. Will now set, deliver. That is just outside for ball 2 on a slider that just missed at 74 miles per hour. So 2-1 the count to Gross as he will take the lead. No outs here in the bottom of the third. Keltson now will set, fire, swung on a popped up, jammed in the center, and Presto will make the play. And that will put one away here in the bottom of the third. A pop out by Gross, but one out in the bottom of the third. I couldn't quite tell actually who was coming in on that pop out as Presto, Noss, and Bear all ran in on it. It was Presto who ended up coming in and making the play. And so now that'll bring up number 29, Hazel Martinez, who immediately takes strike 1 on an 84 mile per hour fastball that just caught the outside edge. So 0-1 the count to Martinez. One out here in the bottom of the third. Keltson now will set, deal, swung on a pop back foul. And that was tied for his fastest pitch of the day. Keltson's at an 85 mile per hour fastball. 0-2 the count to Martinez. One out here in the bottom of the third. Keltson 0-2 looking for his third strikeout of the ball game here on this 0-2 count. One out here in the bottom of the third. Keltson shaking off about every pitch from Sunday. And now time is going to be granted here as Keltson was shaking off a bunch of pitches. He only has 4 as much as he's told me. And so I think he shook off everything. 0-2, Keltson now will set, deliver, swung on, and pop back. That is foul right field side into the Pioneers dugout. That one might have been the changeup at 78 miles per hour. The count will stay at 0-2 to Martinez. Keltson still 0-2, looking for the strikeout. Will now set, deal, swung on its skied. And Keltson coming in on Bartenstein. It's right behind home plate. He will be falling back, making the play. What a catch by Bartenstein. He falls back and comes down with it. And that'll be a pop out to put 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. A great play there by Bartenstein. Able to take off his mask and locate that one and come down with it, even falling back. But once again, 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. But now the toughest out in the Doubledays lineup. Up at the plate at number 30, Bobby Stang, the catcher. He singled in his first at-bat as that one is just upstairs and outside for ball 1 on a slider that missed at 75 miles per hour. So 1-0 the count to Stang. 2 outs here, still in the bottom of the second. Or excuse me, bottom of the third. Keltson now 1-0 will set, deal. That one is in there. Called strike 1 on an 81 mile per hour pitch. So 1-1 the count to Stang. 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. Keltson 1-1. Well, now set, deal. That is upstairs for ball 2. That was 85 miles per hour. A fastball that just was too high. So 2-1 the count to Stang as he will take the lead. 2 outs here in the bottom of the third still. Keltson now will set, deal. That one is in there. Called strike 2 on a beautiful curveball at 71 miles per hour. So the count will now even up at deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. This is the toughest out. Can Keltson get it? 2-2. Now set, deal. That is check swing down low. Ball 3. On another curveball that was away. So 3-2 the count to Stang as it will fill up here. 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. Keltson 3-2. Big pitch. Trying to end the inning here. Keltson will set, deal, swing and a miss. He struck him out on the fastball at 84 miles per hour. Bobby Stang goes down swinging. That will end the bottom of the third inning. No runs for the Doubledays in the bottom of the third. We go to the top of the fourth. Pioneers will once again look to answer right after this.
I was actually a passenger on the bus. Sitting on the bus, I looked up and I saw we are hiring. So I called up the number. I came in for an interview and I started driving. My name is Randy Ramnarayan. I'm the Director of Transportation here at TransDev, and I've been here on property for 16 years. People come up to you and say, hey, I remember you as an operator, and you did this for me. And it just overwhelms me, and it makes me so joyful to know that I made a difference. Everyone from the CEO, COO, all the way down, it's the same message. Customer engagement, employee engagement. This is what we do here at TransDev.
Have a nice day.
It's not a job that you gotta drag yourself out of bed to get here. It's you wake up every morning excited to be here. This is the most wonderful place to work.
Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the fourth inning here. Pioneers still down to the Doubledays 1-0. It'll still be Huxley Holcomb up on the mound for the Doubledays, but it'll be the heart of the order for the Pioneers coming up here. And leading off, it'll be number 77, Joe Muzio, the designated hitter, who singled in his first at-bat. Muzio looking to go 2 for 2 here and to get on base and be a leadoff base runner for the Pioneers is the heart of their order up. So this is a good opportunity for the Pioneers to try and tie up this ball game here. Holcomb now will set deal. That is down low for ball one at 87 miles per hour. That is a fastball from Holcomb. So 1-0 the count to Muzio. No outs here in the top of the fourth. Holcomb 1-0. Will now set, deliver. That one is in there. Called strike one. That was off speed at 74 miles per hour. It looked like a slider. So 1-1 the count now as it will even up to Muzio. No outs here in the top of the fourth. Holcomb 1-1. Will now set, fire. The swing and a miss by Muzio on a ball down low in the dirt. And so that will make the count 1-2. That was a fastball way down low in the turf. And Muzio swung at it. So 1-2 the count to Muzio. No outs here in the top of the fourth. Muzio trying to get on here. He already has a single today, trying to make it 2 for 2. Holcomb 1-2. Will now set, deal, swing and a miss. And Muzio goes down swinging. That is the sixth strikeout, or no, excuse me, the seventh strikeout of the ball game for Huxley Holcomb. And that'll put one out here in the top of the fourth. And now that'll bring on number 10, John Schroeder, the right fielder. Struck out in his first at-bat. Holcomb will face Schroeder here with one out in the top of the fourth. Holcomb now will set, deal. That is down low for ball one at 88 miles per hour. Another fastball. So 1-0 the count to Schroeder. One out here in the top of the fourth. Holcomb 1-0. Will now set, deliver, swing and a miss by Schroeder on a 77 mile per hour curveball. So 1-1 the count now as it'll even up to Aces Wild here actually in the top of the fourth. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here to Schroeder. Holcomb 1-1. Will now set, deal, swung on a pop back by Schroeder right behind home plate into the screen. That was a fastball at 88 miles per hour from Holcomb. 1-2 the count now to Schroeder. One out here in the top of the fourth. Schroeder trying to get on for the Pioneers. As the Pioneers still trying to tie up this ball game. Holcomb has been pretty good so far. Holcomb 1-2. Will now set, deal, swung on a driven weakly over to first. Hal Walker Jr. will field it, throw back to Holcomb, and he will tag up at first in time. So that will be a ground out from Schroeder to put 2 outs on the board here in the top of the fourth. And now that'll bring on to Ray Cooper Smith, the left fielder. He was walked in his first at-bat against Holcomb. 2 outs here now in the top of the fourth. Smith trying to get on with 2 outs here. Holcomb now will set, deal. That is down low and inside for ball one. That was a slider at 78 miles per hour. So 1-0 the count to Smith. 2 outs here in the top of the fourth. Holcomb 1-0. Well, now set deal. That is upstairs and outside for ball 2. That was a fastball at 87 miles per hour. So 2-0 the count to Smith. 2 outs here in the top of the 4th. Holcomb 2-0. Well, now set deal. That one is in there. Called strike 1. That one was at 81 miles per hour. A change up at 81. So 2-1 the count to Smith. Smith's the only one that Holcomb has walked the entire ball game, and Smith still ahead in the count, 2-1. Holcomb now will set deal, swung on and skied in the right field. Walker Jr. and the second baseman are coming under at second baseman. Dolan will make the play, and that will end the top of the 4th inning. No runs once again for the Pioneers, and another 1-2-3 inning for Huxley. Holcomb. We go to the bottom of the 4th right after this.
And employing about 500 people. Taking pride in serving the Elmira community for over a century. The Hilliard Corporation.
For more than a century, you've counted on Arnett Health. Counted on us to heal you, support you, encourage you, get you back on your feet. And for more than a century, Arnett has counted on you too. You're our community, our purpose, our passion. You're the reason we do what we do. Because giving our patients the best of ourselves is just who we are. Looking forward while embracing our legacy. Staying on the cutting edge while staying connected to our patients. Focusing on state-of-the-art procedures and the most effective care. At Arnett, we're nurses, doctors, and teams of other caregivers inspired by healing. We know your physical, emotional, and spiritual health are each part of the whole of you. To continue a tradition of medicine driven by compassion, teaching, and healing. That's why we're here. It's who we are. It's what we do.
Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the 4th inning here. Pioneers still down to the Doubledays 1-0, and it's still Joseph Kelton out there for the Pioneers to start the bottom of the 4th. And now leading off, it'll be number 3, A.J. Wenrich, the right fielder for the Doubledays here. Wenrich struck out in his first at-bat against Kelton earlier in the ball game. Kelton now will set deal. That is down low and outside for ball 1. It was a fastball at 82 miles per hour, so 1-0 the count to Wenrich. Kelton now 1-0. Will set deal. Swung on a weakly driven over to Bisaccia. That one is actually going to get through Bisaccia and Presto. That is a leadoff single for Wenrich into left. And that'll put a runner on first for the Doubledays here with no outs in the bottom of the 4th. And now that'll bring up number 16, Garrett Prosper, the left fielder. He popped out in his first at-bat against Kelton. No outs here in the bottom of the 4th. And a runner on first in Wenrich for the Doubledays. Kelton looks over to Wenrich off of first. And now we'll set deal. That is in there. Just caught the outside edge for called strike 1. So 0-1 the count to Prosper. That was an 81 mile per hour fastball in that first pitch. So Kelton now 0-1. Well, now set, deliver, swung on and skied into right. Schroeder going back all the way under the warning track, and he will make the play. That one almost all the way back at the wall. A crushed baseball into right, but Schroeder able to come under it. So that will put 1 out on the board here in the bottom of the 4th. That was scary. Schroeder was going all the way back, and I thought that one might have been gone for a moment. But instead, that's just a fly out. And so now that'll bring up number 23, Michael Woolley, the third baseman. He singled in his first at-bat earlier in the ball game. 1 out here in the bottom of the 4th. Wenrich still off of first for the Doubledays, excuse me, as that one is lined into left. And now Smith coming under, and he will make the play. Back-to-back flyouts that almost went all the way to the warning track both times. But that will be 2 outs for the Pioneers here in the bottom of the 4th. As now that'll bring up number 18, Hal Walker Jr., the first baseman, who singled in his first at-bat. Those have been back-to-back 2 scary flyouts there, but luckily both of them were only just flyouts. Still Wenrich over there at first. 2 outs here now in the bottom of the 4th. Kelton now will set, deal. That one is in there. Called strike one on a slider at 73 miles per hour. So 0-1 the count to Walker Jr. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. It is still Winrich over there at first for the Doubledays. Kelton 0-1 will set, deal, swung on and driven. That is right field side and foul and out of play. That was 72 miles per hour, so probably either the curveball or the changeup. So 0-2 the count to Walker Jr. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. Still Winrich on first for the Doubledays. Kelton looking for the strikeout. Will now set, deal. That one is upstairs and outside for ball one. That was a fastball at 84 miles per hour. So 1-2 the count now to Walker Jr. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. Kelton looking for what would be his fourth strikeout of the game to end the bottom of the fourth inning. Kelton 1-2 will now set, deal. That one is just down low for ball two. I thought that was going to be the strikeout, but it was not. Just down low. That was a curveball from Kelton at 69 miles per hour. So now the count will even up at deuces wild. There are 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. Kelton now will set, deals. That one is just upstairs for ball three. And that one was a fastball at 83 miles per hour. So now this is a big pitch coming up here for Kelton. Full count to Walker Jr. Does not want to walk him here and put 2 runners on with only 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. Kelton 3-2. Will now nod and check over, and he will. That's that tell that I was talking about earlier. Well, Kelton like slowly nods his head up and down. He's going to check over to the base runner. He did, but unfortunately, Winrich able to get back in time. So the count will stay 3-2. Kelton will set, deal. That is swung on and driven into center. Nos coming in on it. He will not be able to make it as that one will drop. And so Nos ran in on it, tried to slide down and grab it. Well, that will be a single for Walker Jr. as Nos just couldn't quite get to it. Great effort by him, but unfortunately it just dropped. And so that'll put runners on the corners here with 2 outs in the bottom of the fourth and bring up number 19, Kevin Dolan, the second baseman. Struck out in his first at-bat. 2 outs here is still in the bottom of the fourth, so any out ends the ball game, or excuse me, not ends the ball game, ends the inning for Kelton. Kelton now will set, deal. That is upstairs and outside, ball one. Fastball at 83 miles per hour. So 1-0 the count to Dolan here. 2 outs in the bottom of the fourth. Kelton still going to try and get out of this inning. There's runners on the corners for the Doubledays. Kelton 1-0. Well, now set, deliver. That one is in there. Called strike one on a curveball at 72 miles per hour. So 1-1 now. The count will even up to Dolan here. 2 outs in the bottom of the fourth. Kelton looks over to Walker Jr. and now will set, deal. Swung on it, popped up. Right field side, that is unfortunately out of play. Keller was trying to go for it off of first, but couldn't get to it. That's beyond the fencing. So 1-2 the count to Dolan now. Kelton can pick up his 4th strikeout of the ball game here and end the bottom of the fourth inning. Kelton, this is a big opportunity for him on this 1-2 count. He will now set, deal, swung on a driven right field side, again out of play and over the bleachers. So the count will stay 1-2. To Dolan. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. Kelton 1-2. Will now look in. Look over to first. And now Kelton will set, deal. Swung on and popped up again right field side. Dolan just fouling it off, trying to stay alive, and he has been staying alive. 83 mile per hour fastball by Kelton once again. The count will stay 1-2 to Dolan. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth. This is a big moment for Kelton, trying to get out of the bottom of the fourth inning without giving up any more runs. Keep this at a 1-0 ball game. Kelton now 1-2 will set, deal. That is just down low and outside, and Walker Jr. will go over there to second. He was able to steal it. That was an 84 mile per hour fastball that just missed down low from Kelton. The count will now even up at deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the fourth, and it will now be Walker Jr. over there at second. Kelton will set, deal, swing and a miss. He struck him out. That is the 4th strikeout for Joseph Kelton, and that will end the bottom of the fourth inning. No runs for the Doubledays in the bottom of the fourth. We go to the top of the fifth. It is still only a 1-0 ball game. Welcome back here now to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the 5th inning here. Huxley Holcomb still on the mound for the Doubledays here to start the top of the 5th in a 1-0 ball game. And now it'll be number 44, Chris Bear, the second baseman, leading off here against Holcomb. He struck out in his first at-bat against Holcomb earlier in the ball game. Holcomb now will set deal. That one is in there. Called strike one on a fastball at 87 miles per hour. So 0-1 the count to Bear. No outs here in the top of the 5th. Holcomb 0-1. Will now set deal. Swing and a miss by Bear on a ball down low and outside. So that one was off speed, a slider at 75 miles per hour. 0-2 quickly goes the count now to Bear. No outs here in the top of the 5th. Holcomb 0-2 will now set deal. Swung on a driven. That is right field side and out of play. So the count will stay 0-2. That was a fastball at 89 miles per hour from Holcomb. And so Holcomb still 0-2. And by the way, a development in the Newark-Batavia game 2 of that doubleheader. Newark leads it 3-0, so that is very good for the Pioneers as that one is down low for ball one on a curveball from Holcomb. So good take there by Bear. 1-2 the count. Of course, Pioneers rooting for Newark to get the win in game 2 of that doubleheader. Batavia already took game 1 of that doubleheader. Holcomb 1-2 will now set deal. Swung on a driven. That's a base hit in a right. As that'll be a single that just got over the second baseman Dolan's head. And so that will be a leadoff single for the Pioneers here in the top of the 5th as Bear goes over to first. And now that'll bring up number 14, Jay Keller, the first baseman, grounded out in his first at-bat. Holcomb now, with no outs here in the top of the 5th. This is an opportunity for the Pioneers to try and tie up this ball game. Holcomb looks over to Bear off first. And now we'll set deal. Swing and a miss by Keller. And the count will go 0-1. That was a slider at 77 miles per hour. So 0-1 the count to Holcomb. Or excuse me, 0-1 the count to Keller. No outs here in the top of the 5th. Bear off of first. Holcomb looks over to Bear. 0-1, and now we'll check over to Bear at first, and that is a tag out. And yes, and Bear got frozen. And so that will put one out here in the top of the 5th as Bear is picked off at first. Bear just got frozen as that was such a quick pickoff attempt by Holcomb. And so that will be an out as Bear was picked off at first. And so the count will stay 0-1 to Keller. One out here in the top of the 5th. And no more base runners as Bear is picked off. Holcomb now will set deal. That is upstairs and outside for ball one. So the count will now even up at aces wild here. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the top of the 5th. That was an 89 mile per hour fastball from Holcomb. Holcomb 1-1 will now set deal. That is upstairs and outside for ball two. Another fastball at 85 miles per hour this time. So 2-1 the count to Keller as he will take the lead. One out here in the top of the 5th. Holcomb 2-1 will set deal. That one is down low for ball three. So 3-1 the count. That was a curveball at 75 miles per hour from Holcomb. That was just too down low. Keller, it'd be nice if he can draw a walk here. 3-1 the count. Only one out here in the top of the 5th. Holcomb 3-1 will now set deal. Swung on a driven into right. Right fielder going for it, and he will make the play. As that is a fly out by Keller just right of the first base foul line, and that'll put 2 quick outs here on the board for Holcomb. And so now that'll bring up number 33, Kevin Noss, the center fielder, struck out in his first at-bat as he will be coming up to the plate here with 2 outs in the top of the 5th. Holcomb now will set, deliver. That is going to be inside for ball one at 86 miles per hour, a fastball. 1-0 the count to Noss, 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Holcomb now 1-0 will set, deliver, swing and a miss by Noss, and the count will quickly even up at 1-1. That was a fastball that blew right by at 87 miles per hour. So 1-1 the count to Noss, 2 outs here in the top of the 5th. Holcomb 1-1. Well, now set deal. That is down low for ball two at 86 miles per hour. Another fastball. So 2-1 the count to Noss as he will take the lead. 2 outs here still in the top of the fifth. Holcomb 2-1. Well, now set, deliver, swing and a miss by Nossen on an 85 mile per hour fastball. So the count will now even up at Deuces Wild here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the fifth. Holcomb, if he picks up the strikeout, that will end the top of the fifth inning here. Holcomb 2-2. Well, now set, fire. That one is in there. Cold strike 3 on a curveball that just caught the outside edge. And that will be the the eighth strikeout of the ball game for Holcomb, and that will end the top of the fifth inning. No runs for the Pioneers in the top of the fifth. We go to the bottom of the fifth. Doubledays still lead it 1-0. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the fifth inning here. Pioneers still down to the Doubledays 1-0. Leading off this inning for the Doubledays, it'll be number 34, Emil Sander, the center fielder. He RBI singled in his first at-bat. It'll still be number 88, Joseph Kelson, up there on the mound for the Pioneers here to start the bottom of the fifth. Sander now will be stepping back in here to face Kelson for the second time. Kelson now will set, deal, and Emil Sander lays down a bunt immediately. Kelson will field it and cannot throw to first. That was a great bunt laid down by Sander, and that'll be a base hit single for him as he will go over to first. So a leadoff single for Sander here will put a runner on first with no outs here in the bottom of the fifth for the Doubledays. And so now that'll bring on number 4, Fernando Espinal, the extra hitter, grounded out in his first at-bat. Flew out in his second at-bat. Kelson leans in, no outs here in the bottom of the fifth. Kelson now will set, deliver. That one is in there. Cold strike 1 on a changeup at 78 miles per hour. So 0-1 the count to Espinal. No outs here in the bottom of the fifth. It is still Sander over there at first. Kelson 0-1 will now set, fire, swing and a miss by Espinal. And the count will go 0-2 now. That was a 69 mile per hour curveball that curved away from Espinal, and he swung at it and came up empty. So 0-2 the count to Espinal. No outs here in the bottom of the fifth. It is still Sander over there at first for the Doubledays. Kelson will now check over to first, and that one not quite in time. Sander just able to get back. Kelson 0-2 as Espinal will step back in. Kelson will set, deal. That one is down low, and Barnstein just able to keep it in front of him. So 1-2 the count. That was another curveball at 70 miles per hour. So 1-2 the count to Espinal. No outs here in the bottom of the fifth. A runner at first in Sander for the Doubledays. Kelson looks over to Sander. 1-2. Well, now set, deal, swung on it, crushed into left center, and Noss will come under it, and that will be 2 outs on the board, or excuse me, 1 out on the board here in the bottom of the fifth, as that is a fly out by Espinal. 1 out here in the bottom of the fifth, and now that'll bring him number 5, Carson Gross, the shortstop. Walked in his first at-bat, popped out in his second at-bat. by the way, still leads that second game of the doubleheader between Newark and Batavia. Newark still leads it 3-0. And that one is in there. Called strike one on a curveball from Kelson at 71 miles per hour to Gross. So 0-1 the count now. One out here in the bottom of the fifth. It is still Sander over there at first for the Doubledays. Kelson 0-1. Will now set, deal, and immediately Sanders going to try and steal second, and he does, as that one is missed by Presto. It was a little bit thrown behind him, and Presto just not quite able to grab that. That was a ball outside, by the way, from Kelson. So the count will even up at aces wild. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the bottom of the fifth, and it is still now Sander over there at second base as he stole it. A pretty good crowd actually here tonight at Falcon Park for the Doubledays. Kelson 1-1. That one is down low and away for ball 2. Another curveball from Kelson. So 2-1 the count to Gross as he will take the lead. 1 out here in the bottom of the fifth. Sanders still over there at second for the Doubledays. Kelson looks back over there to Sander. 2-1. Will now set fire. That one is inside for ball 3. And Sander, it gets away from Bartenstein. That is actually going to be a hit by pitch. So a hit by pitch for Gross as he will go over to first, and Sander will go back to second. So now that'll bring up number 29, Hazel Martinez, the designated hitter. Reached on a fielder's choice in his first at-bat, popped out in his second at-bat. Runners on first and second with only 1 out here in the bottom of the fifth. So Kelson could be in a little bit of trouble here. Kelson looking to get a second out on the board here against Martinez. Martinez will look over to second, or excuse me, no, Kelson will look over to second, and swung on it, driven into center. Noss going back for it. He cannot make the, or no, he did. What a catch by Noss. Are you kidding me? Wow. Noss ran all the way back. I thought he missed it. He reached out full extension and one hand snatched it out of the air. Are you kidding me? Wow. Kevin Noss, what a play. And that'll put 2 outs here in the bottom of the fifth. Unreal fly-out grab from Noss. And now Drum is going to talk with Kelson here. There's just going to be a mound meeting. It doesn't look like there's anybody warming up in the bullpen for the Pioneers, so Kelson will still be out there. But wow, what a grab there by Noss. Unreal. I completely thought he dropped that. The way he was running, I didn't think he was going to get to it. Instead, he goes all the way out, full extension, and snatches it with the left hand. Wow, I could not believe he got that. Unreal grab. Noss has been running all over the place. There's been a lot of recent flyouts by the Doubledays, and he's gotten quite a few of them. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fifth, but unfortunately, that'll bring up my least favorite Doubleday, as it'll be number 30, Bobby Stang, the catcher, up at the plate here with 2 outs in the bottom of the fifth. This will be a very tough out for Kelson here. So far, Stang singled and struck out. However, it's not going to be tough as it's skied. Keller going for it near the dugout. He missed it. He overran it. Keller just overran it. That was the out to end the inning. And Keller just overran it near the dugout. That was foul territory. And Keller just overran it and couldn't get to it. So 0-1 the count to Stang. And that would have been massive for the Pioneers to get Stang out early. And so 0-1 the count to Stang. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fifth. Still runners on first and second for the Doubledays here with 2 outs. So any out will end the bottom of the fifth inning for Kelson. Kelson now will set. Deal. That is inside and upstairs. Ball 1 on a curveball at 67 miles per hour. So 1-1 the count to Stang as it will even up. 2 outs here in the bottom of the fifth. Kelson 1-1. We'll look over to second, and now we'll set. Deal. That is upstairs and outside for ball 2. That was a fastball at 82 miles per hour. 2-1 the count to Stang. This is a dangerous situation with Stang at the plate. He's so tough to get out, which is why that miss by Keller may come back to bite the Pioneers. Kelson looks over to second. 2-1. And now he will set. Deliver. That is in upstairs and inside. Ball 3. That's another curveball by Kelson. Kelson's trying to get a curveball to just curve into the zone. He's either been inside or outside. He hasn't quite been able to find the zone with that pitch. So 3-1, the count goes to Stang. If he walks Stang, Kelson walks Stang, that would load the bases for the Doubledays. Kelson 3-1 will set, deal, swung on its guide. Hopefully Kelson can get to it. Kelson looking for it. He will make the play. That will end the bottom of the 5th inning. Kelson does it himself, and he gets the pop out of Stang. And the Doubledays will strand 2 on in the bottom of the 5th. We go to the top of the 6th. It is still only a 1-0 ball game. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the 6th inning here. Pioneers still down to the Doubledays 1-0. Huxley Holcomb still out there on the mound for the Doubledays here to start the top of the 6th. And leading off this inning for the Pioneers, it will be number 22, Nick Bisaccia, the third baseman. Flew out in his first at-bat. It'll be the 8, 9, and 10 hitters up for the Pioneers here in the top of the 6th. Holcomb now will set, deliver, swung on a weakly driven over to third. Third baseman will field it, throw to first in time, and that will be 1 away. 1 pitch, 1 out for Huxley Holcomb here to start the top of the 6th. And now that'll bring on number 16, Christian Zeely, the extra hitter. Tonight, struck out in his first at-bat. 1 out here in the top of the 6th. And like I said early on in the live stream, I thought after I saw Holcomb's stats, I thought this was going to be a pitching duel. It is. Only a 1-0 ball game. Holcomb now will set, deal. That one is inside for ball 1 at 86 miles per hour. So a fastball from Holcomb. So 1-0 the count to Zeely. 1 out here in the top of the 6th. Holcomb now 1-0. Will set, deliver, swung on a driven. That's a base hit in the left. A great job by Zeely just to get that one by the shortstop cross. And that'll be a single for Zeely to put a runner on first with only 1 out here in the top of the 6th. And so now that'll bring up number 15, Brody Bernstein, the catcher. He struck out in his first at-bat. Bernstein will try and get on here to put 2 runners on with the top of the order, and Presto, Muzio, and Schroeder coming up. Holcomb will now set, deliver, swing and a miss by Bernstein on a curveball from Holcomb. That was at 76 miles per hour. So 0-1 the count out of Bernstein. 1 out here in the top of the 6th. Zeely off of first takes his lead. Holcomb will set, deliver, swung on it, popped up, right field side and out of play. So the count will quickly go 0-2 now to Bartenstein. One out here in the top of the sixth. Holcomb 0-2. Zeile off of first. Well, now set, deal. That is down low for ball one. A good take there by Bartenstein. No read from the radar gun, so I don't know what exact the velocity was, but I bet you anything that was a fastball. So 1-2 the count to Bartenstein. One out here in the top of the sixth. Holcomb looks over to Zeile off of first. And now we'll set, deliver. That is check swing. They're going to say he did not go, and so that'll be down low for ball two. Bartenstein, a good take there, able to stay alive. So the count will go 2-2 now to Bartenstein. One out here in the top of the sixth. Zeile off of first for the Pioneers. It would be massive if Bartenstein could get on in any way in order to put two runners on with the top of the order coming up. Holcomb now will set, deliver. That is outside for ball three, and a quick throw over from Stang over to Walker Jr. at first, and Zeile able to scamper back in time. So he is safe at first, and Bartenstein a full count here now, 3-2. 3-2 the count. This is a big pitch for Holcomb. Holcomb now will check over to first in Zeile, and Zeile able to get back in time. So Zeile will still be safe over there at first for the Pioneers. Holcomb 3-2 the count to Bartenstein. This is a big pitch. Zeile retakes his lead. Holcomb now will set, deliver, swung on it, driven over to third. Third baseman Woolley will field it, throw to first in time. And so that'll be a ground out by Bartenstein, but it did advance Zeile. Zeile is able to go over to second, and that will put two outs here in the top of the sixth. And now that'll bring up the leadoff man at number 2, Dom Presto, the shortstop. Struck out in his first at-bat, popped out in his second at-bat. Presto looking to either get a base hit or to get walked here with Muzio, Schroeder, and Smith coming up. Holcomb looks over to second as he steps off the mound. Two outs here still in the top of the second. So Zeile over there at second, well off second base actually. Holcomb now will set, deal. Presto squared to bunt, but he missed it on a 72-mile-per-hour pitch. So 0-1 the count to Presto. Two outs here in the top of the sixth. Zeile over there at second in scoring position. Zeile is the tying run for the Pioneers. 0-1 the count to Presto. Two outs here in the top of the sixth. Holcomb now, 0-1. Will now step off the mound and not even pump fake over to Zeile. So he'll just step off. Still 0-1 the count to Presto. Holcomb looks in, 0-1. Presto sets up in the batter's box. Holcomb looks over to Zeile. And now he will set, deliver. That is well outside for ball one. That was a curveball at 76 miles per hour from Holcomb. That was way outside of the zone. So 1-1 the count now to Presto. Two outs here in the top of the sixth. Holcomb 1-1. We'll now look over to Zeile. And now he will set, deliver, swung on it, popped up in the shallow right. Presto not happy about it, slams his bat as that is a pop out to end the top of the sixth inning. So no runs once again for the Pioneers in the top of the sixth. We go to the bottom of the sixth. Doubledays still lead it 1-0.
I was actually a passenger on the bus. Sitting on the bus, I looked up and I saw, we are hiring. So I called up the number, I came in for an interview, and I started driving. My name is Randy Ramnarayan. I'm the Director of Transportation here at TransDev, and I've been here on property for 16 years. People come up to you and say, hey, I remember you as an operator, and you did this for me. And it just overwhelms me, and it makes me so joyful to know that I made a difference. everyone from the CEO, COO, all the way down, it's the same message. Customer engagement, employee engagement. This is what we do here at TransDev.
Have a nice day.
It's not a job that you gotta drag yourself out of bed to get here. It's you wake up every morning excited to be here. This is the most wonderful place to work.
Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the 6th inning here. Pioneers still down to the Doubledays 1-0. And it'll be a new pitcher on the mound here for the Pioneers to start the bottom of the 6th. It'll be number 16, Christian Zeely, who will be on the mound now for the Pioneers. Zeely making his 9th appearance. He also has 2 starts. He has a 2.76 ERA in 29.1 innings pitched. He's given up 18 hits, 11 runs, only 9 of those earned. With 19 walks, has 17 strikeouts so far this season, a 2-0 record with 2 saves as well. And so now, leading off for the Doubledays, it'll be number 3, A.J. Wenrich, the right fielder, struck out in his first at-bat, singled in his second at-bat. Zeely now looking to go cleanly through this bottom of the 6th and try and get the bats back up to try and tie up this ball game. It is still only 1-0 in favor of the Doubledays. And the Newark Pilots are still leading it 3-0 over the Batavia Muck Dogs in Game 2 of that doubleheader. So that is very good news for the Pioneers. Zeely now will set deal. That one is check swing down low outside for ball 1. That was a slider at 72 miles per hour. So 1-0 the count to Wenrich. No outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Zeely now will set deal. That one is in there. Called strike 1 at 85 miles per hour. A fastball from Zeely. So 1-1 the count to Wenrich here as it'll even up. No outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Zeely now will set, deliver. That one is in there. Called strike 2 just caught the top right corner of the zone. So 1-2 the count now to Wenrich. That was another fastball from Zeely at 84 miles per hour. Zeely 1-2. Will now set, deal, swing, and a miss by Wenrich. No, he just got a piece of it. It just came off the end of his bat. And so Wenrich will stay alive. The count will stay 1-2. That was a curveball at 75 miles per hour. Zeely 1-2. Looking for his first strikeout in his first batter faced. Will now set, deal. That one is just down low and inside for ball 2. So that'll be another breaking ball at 75 miles per hour. So 2-2 the count goes to Wenrich. No outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Zeely now will set, deal, swung on it, driven into center. That is going to get down, and that'll be a base hit single for Wenrich. So a leadoff single for the Doubledays here from Wenrich. Will put a runner on first with no outs here in the bottom of the 6th. And now that'll bring up number 16, Garrett Prosper, the left fielder. Popped out in his first at-bat, flew out in his second at-bat. No outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Zeely now with Wenrich off of first. Zeely will set, deal, swung on it, driven into center. Nas will come in on it again, and that's going to drop as that's a base hit. That's a single as Nas was coming in on it. I thought he was going to get to it. He didn't. So that is back-to-back singles given up by Zeely here. With no outs in the bottom of the 6th, and that'll put 2 runners on. Runners on first and second for the Doubledays. No outs. And now that'll bring up number 23, Michael Woolley, the third baseman. Singled in his first at-bat. Flew out in his second at-bat. Zeely now will set, deliver. That one is in there. Called strike 1 on a 72 mile per hour curveball. So 0-1 the count now to Woolley. No outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Runner still on first and second for the Doubledays. Zeely 0-1. Will now set, deal. That one is in there. Called strike 2 on a fastball at 83 miles per hour. So 0-2 the count now to Woolley. No outs here in the bottom of the 6th. This would be a big strikeout for Zeely to put 1 out on the board here in the bottom of the 6th. Zeely 0-2. Well, now set, deliver, swung on its skied into right. Keller going back for it, and he will make the play. And so that'll be a pop out by Woolley to put one out on the board here in the bottom of the sixth. And so now that'll bring up number 18, Hal Walker Jr., the first baseman. He's 2 for 2 tonight with 2 singles in his first 2 at-bats. Still runners on first and second for the Doubledays here with only 1 out in the bottom of the sixth. Zealy now will look into Walker Jr. Zealy now will set, deliver, swung on a driven left field side. That is foul. And so the count will go 0-1 to Walker Jr. 1 out here in the bottom of the sixth. That was a breaking ball at 73 miles per hour from Zealy. And now Walker Jr. will step back in. Zealy now 0-1. Will now step off the mound and pump fake over to second base in Bears' direction. Zealy still 0-1. Zealy now will set, deliver. That one is in there. Called strike 2. Fastball at 83. And so the count will go 0-2 to Walker Jr. 1 out here in the bottom of the sixth. Zealy looking for his first strikeout here to put 2 outs on the board in the bottom of the sixth. This would be a big strikeout if he can get it. Zealy 0-2 will now set, deal, swung on and driven. That is left field side and out of play. So the count will stay 0-2. That was a breaking ball once again from Zealy at 71 miles per hour. So still 0-2 the count to Walker Jr. 1 out here in the bottom of the sixth. Zealy 0-2. Will now set, deal. That is down low and away for ball 1. So 1-2 the count to Walker Jr. 1 out here in the bottom of the sixth. Zealy 1-2. Will now set, deal, swing and a miss by Walker Jr. He struck him out. That's the first strikeout of the night for Christian Zealy, and that will put 2 outs on the board here in the bottom of the sixth. And now, after giving up 2 singles, Zealy gets 2 outs here to put 2 outs on the board in the bottom of the sixth. And now that will bring up number 19, Kevin Dolan, the second baseman. Struck out twice in his first 2 at-bats, as that one is outside for ball 1 on a fastball at 84 miles per hour. So 1-0 the count to Dolan here. 2 outs in the bottom of the sixth. It is still runners on first and second for the Doubledays. Zealy 1-0. Will now set, deal. That one is in there. Called strike 1 on the fastest pitch Zealy has thrown tonight at 85 miles per hour of fastball. 1-1 the count now to Dolan. Zealy now will set, fire, swung on it, popped up in the shallow right. Schroeder will come in on it, miss it. He drops it, and that is going to score a run on an RBI single. Wenrich will score. And now it is all of a sudden a 2-0 ball game, as one that just got under Schroeder will make it a 2-0 ball game here. That is devastating. That's twice now that sometimes the balls are just right in front of the outfielder's reach for the Pioneers. That's twice now. Once happened to Austin, now it's happened to Schroeder. It's not necessarily their fault. They're running all the way in. They simply just cannot quite get to the baseballs in time. It's just put in the perfect spot where it's just out of their reach. And so now that'll put runners on the corners for the Doubledays with 2 outs in the bottom of the sixth. As Zealy will set, deal. That is inside. Ball 1 to number 34, Emil Sander, who is now up at the plate, the center fielder. He RBI singled in his first at-bat and then singled regularly in his second at-bat. Zealy will set, deal. That is upstairs for ball 2. And now a steal attempt, and now there is going to be someone who scores. It is a 3-0 ball game, as now, and he got back safely. Or no, that will be an out, as he got out at first. So it will be Dolan who got out at first, but it is a 3-0 ball game as the runner at third scored. So it's 3-0 now, as Zealy gave up 2 runs in the bottom of the sixth, but the bottom of the sixth is over now, as that was a throw out between first and second of Kevin Dolan. So a lot happened during that time, but the runner at third, which I believe was Prosper, ran all the way home from third, and Walker Jr. or excuse me, Dolan got out between first and second. So it's a 3-0 ball game now. We go to the top of the seventh right after this. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the seventh inning here. Pioneers down now 3-0 to the Doubledays, and it'll be a new pitcher on the mound for the Doubledays here, number 24, Simon Aluko. And so hopefully now against Aluko, the Pioneers can have better luck, and they'll have their best opportunity here with the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. So the heart of the order up for the Pioneers here, it'll be Muzio, Schroeder, Smith, Bear, then Keller. And so all those guys are going to be trying to get as many runs as possible to at least try and chip away at this lead here. Leading off, it'll be number 77, Joe Muzio, the designated hitter. He singled in his first at-bat, struck out in his second at-bat. He'll be the first batter up to face Aluko here. Hopefully, the hitters for the Pioneers' luck can change, as Holcomb was absolutely deadly for the Doubledays, and he did a fantastic job. I mean, the Pioneers really struggled to get much off of him. Aluko now will set, deliver. That is inside, and they're going to check swing. Nope, he did not go, so 1-0 the count to Muzio on an 89-mile-per-hour fastball. That is very, very fast. So 1-0 the count. Aluko now will set, deal, swung on a pop-back foul. Another 85-mile-per-hour fastball this time. The count will now even up 1-1 to Muzio. No outs here in the top of the seventh. Aluko 1-1. Will now set, fire, swing and a miss by Muzio on a 77-mile-per-hour curveball that completely changed the velocity. He's the same style of pitcher as Holcomb. He'll throw super fast fastballs, high velocity, 89-mile-per-hour, and then he'll change it up with his off-speed stuff. It's 77-mile-per-hour change-up curveballs to try and freeze hitters. That one was ball inside, down low for ball 2. So 2-2 the count now as it evens up to Muzio. No outs here in the top of the seventh. Aluko 2-2. Will now set, deal, swing and a miss by Muzio. He goes down swinging. That's the second strikeout of the night for Muzio. And that'll put one out here in the top of the first. And so now that'll bring on number 10, John Schroeder, the right fielder. Struck out in his first at-bat, grounded out in his second at-bat. And so now Aluko will face Schroeder. One out here in the top of the seventh. Aluko now will set, deliver. That is upstairs and outside for ball 1 at 88 miles per hour. That fastball is quite a lot of movement for that fast of a pitch. 1-0 the count to Schroeder. Aluko now will set, deal, swing and a miss by Schroeder once again on the outside edge of the plate. The count will now even up at Aces Wild. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the top of the 7th. And that was the fastest pitch Luco has thrown at 90 miles per hour, sizzling. Luco 1-1. Will now set, fire, swung on a driven right field side and foul. That is once again sizzling at 90 miles per hour. So the count will go 1-2 to Schroeder. 1 out here in the top of the 7th. Luco 1-2. Will now set, deliver, swung on a pop back foul. That was a pitch inside at the fastest pitch we've seen thrown tonight. Tied with Holcomb at 91 miles per hour. Another fastball. The count will stay 1-2 to Schroeder here. 1 out in the top of the 7th. Luco 1-2. And now Luco will step back and is going to want to talk to Stang as he signals for Stang to come and talk to him. So they're going to have a word real quick on a little bit of a mound meeting here. And so now Stang and Luco are on the same page here. 1 out in the top of the 7th. 1 to the count to Schroeder. Pioneers looking to try and at least chip away at this lead. It's currently 3-0. Luco now 1-2. Will now set, deal, that is outside for ball 2, off speed at 78 miles per hour. So 2-2 the count now to Schroeder as it'll even up. 1 out here in the top of the 7th. Luco 2-2. Will now set, deliver, that is in there. Cold strike 3, just caught the upstairs outside edge of the corner. And that'll be a strikeout for Schroeder to put 2 outs on the board here in the top of the 7th. That one just caught the top right corner of the zone. And now that'll bring up number 8, Cooper Smith, the left fielder. Walked in his first at-bat, flew out in his second at-bat. The Pioneers' bats have been laid silent here tonight against DeLuco and Holcomb. These pitchers have been deadly from Auburn. DeLuco now will step in with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th and take ball down low, ball 1 from Luco. So that was at 88 miles per hour, a fastball down low in the zone. Luco 1-0. Luca now will set, deal, that is in there, just caught the outside edge for strike 1 at 90 miles per hour. So the count will even up at 1-1 to Smith. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Luco 1-1. Well, now it's set, deal, that one is in there, just upstairs and inside for ball 2. I'm actually surprised that was not called a strike. 2-1 the count to Smith. That one was at 86 miles per hour, by the way. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Luco 2-1. Well, now set, deliver. That is upstairs and way outside for ball 3. Once again, sizzling at 90 miles per hour. These pitchers for Auburn have a lot of velocity. 3-1 the count to Smith. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Now Luco will take his time getting back on the mound here. Luco 3-1. Well, now set, deal. That one is in there. Called strike 2. Cooper Smith was walking away. And he's going to have to come back. And so the count will now go full to Smith. That was in there at 89 miles per hour. So 3-2 the count to Smith. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Luco now. 3-2 will set, deal, swung on a driven right field side. That is foul and out of play. So Cooper Smith will stay alive. Still 3-2. This is probably the biggest crowd I've actually seen here at Falcon Park this season. The Pioneers have been here quite a few times. It's never been quite this crowded. 3-2 the count to Smith. Luco now. Will set, deliver. That is way outside for ball 4. That'll be a walk for Cooper Smith. And so that will put a runner on first here for the Pioneers with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. And now that'll bring up number 44, Chris Bear, the second baseman. He struck out in his first at-bat, singled in his second at-bat. Luco now still with 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Bear, who struck out in his first at-bat, singled in his second at-bat. That one is down low and inside for ball 1 at 87 miles per hour from Maluco. Bear trying to get a base hit here to advance Smith with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. 1-0 the count to him. Maluco 1-0. Well, now set deal, swung on a pop back foul. Right field side at 89 miles per hour from Maluco. Maluco has been doing a lot more high velocity pitches, even more than what Holcomb did. 1-1 the count to Bear. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. And that one is outside for ball 2. That was way outside for ball 2, and that was off speed at 76 miles per hour. So 2-1 the count as Bear will take the lead. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Luco 2-1. Well, now set deal. That is in there. Cold strike 2. Just caught the outside edge of the plate. And so the count will even up at deuces wild here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Luco 2-2 will look over to Smith. And now he will set, deliver. That is way outside and down low for ball 3. That was at 88 miles per hour. So full count now to Bear. Luco in danger of walking back-to-back batters here. The Pioneers would take it. They need base runners to try and at least chip away at this 3-run lead by Auburn. So Luco 3-2. This is a massive pitch for him. Luco 3-2. Well, now set, deliver. That one is down low for ball 4. That'll be a walk for Bear, and that will put runners on first and second here for the Pioneers with 2 outs in the top of the 7th. And now that'll bring up the tying run in number 14, Jake Keller, to the plate. The first baseman grounded out in his first at-bat, flew out in his second at-bat. If Keller were to homer right now, we would have a tied ball game. It is still 2 outs here in the top of the 7th, so any out does get Luco out of the inning. Smith at second, Bear at first. Luco now. Will set, deliver, swung on a driven. That is going to go over to Gross. Gross will turn to second in time. And that will end the top of the 7th inning on a ground out by Keller. And no runs as they strand 2 runners on the Pioneers, 2 in the top of the 7th. We go to the bottom of the 7th. Auburn still leads it 3-0. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the 7th inning here. Pioneers still down to the Doubledays 3-0. It'll still be Christian Zeely out there on the mound for the Pioneers in the bottom of the 7th to lead off. And now that'll bring up number 34, Emil Sander, the center fielder. He RBI singled in his first at-bat and then singled regularly in his second at-bat. Zeely now 1-0 to Sander. Will now set, deal. That one is in there. Called strike 1 on an 83 mile per hour fastball. So the count will even up 1-1 to Sander. No outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Zealy 1-1. Will now set, deliver. That is check swing. They are going to say that he called. Nope, there's going to be called ball 2. They're going to say he did not go. And so the count will go 2-1 now to Sander. Or excuse me, they did call it strike 2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. That is a strikeout as I messed up that call. So that was a called strike 2. And then Emil swung and missed at the third straight pitch. So that is a strikeout for Zealy to put 1 out on the board here in the bottom of the 7th. And now that'll bring up number 4, Fernando Espinal, the extra hitter. Espinal grounded out his first at-bat, flew out in his last 2 at-bats. That one is just down low and outside for ball 1. Espinal did show bunt on that first pitch. He did square it. So 1-0 the count to Espinal. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. Zealy 1-0. Will now set, deal, swung on it, crushed in the left. That is foul and out of play. So the count will now even up at 1-1-1. So aces wild the count here. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. Zealy 1-1. Will now set, deal. That one is just outside for ball 2. A curved ball at 74 miles per hour that just missed outside. So 2-1 the count now to Espinal. 1 out here in the bottom of the 7th. Zealy 2-1. Will now set, deliver, swung on it, driven into left. Going back is Cooper Smith. He will make the play. What a grab by Smith. Are you kidding me? He was robbed. Espinal was robbed on that. Smith, what a play. 2 plays in this ball game have been absolutely incredible by the Pioneers outfielders. That was a flyout. Cooper Smith was running into the corner, and he reached out once again with one hand and snatched it out of the air and able to come down with it. So that'll put 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th, as that'll bring up number 5, Carson Gross, who takes strike 1 from Zealy. So 0-1 the count to Gross. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Zealy 0-1. That was a fastball at 86 miles per hour. Zealy will set, deal, swung on and driven back foul right field side. And so the count will go 0-2. That was another fastball at 86 miles per hour. Zealy 0-2. With 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th, looking to end the bottom of the 7th inning. Zealy 0-2. Will now set, deal. That one is down low for ball 1. So 1-2 the count to Gross. That was a 76 mile per hour off-speed pitch. Zealy 1-2. Well, now set, deal, swung on a driven left field side. That is foul and out of play. So the count will stay at 1-2 to Carson Gross. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Zealy still looking for the strikeout to end the bottom of the 7th inning. Zealy 1-2. Well, now set, deal. That is just upstairs and outside for ball 2. That was a fastball at 84 miles per hour. So deuce is wild here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Zealy now will set, deal, swung on a driven. That's a base hit into center. And that'll be a single by Gross to keep the inning going for the Doubledays and put a runner on first with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. And now that'll bring up number 29, Hazel Martinez, the designated hitter. Reached on a fielder's choice in his first at-bat, popped out in his second at-bat, flew out in his third at-bat. Zealy now will set, deal. That one is just outside for ball 1. That was a fastball at 85 miles per hour. So 1-0 the count to Martinez. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Zealy 1-0 with Gross over there at first. Will now set, deal, swung on a pop back. That is up and over our heads, left field side. So the count will even up at 1-1 here now to Martinez. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. And last pitch was at 84 miles per hour, so a fastball from Zealy. Zealy 1-1. Will now check over to first, and Gross is still safe over there at first. So still 1-1 the count to Martinez. Zealy now will set, deal, swung on a popped up right field side. That is out of play. And over into the dugout area for the Pioneers. That was off speed at 76 miles per hour. So the count will now go 1-2, excuse me, to Martinez. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 7th. Zealy, if he picks up the strikeout, will end the bottom of the 7th. Zealy will set deal. Swung on a driven into right. Schroeder will come under to make the play. And so that'll be a fly out by Martinez to end the bottom of the 7th inning. No more runs for the Doubledays in the bottom of the 7th. We go to the top of the 8th, where the Pioneers, their bats need to wake up and try and chip away at this 3-0 lead for the Doubledays right after this. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the 8th inning here. Pioneers still down to the Doubledays, 3-0. And the Pioneers need to try and get the bats going in this inning. And now leading off for the Pioneers in this inning, it'll be number 33, Kevin Noss, the center fielder. Struck out twice in his first 2 at-bats. It'll still be Simon Aluko on the mound for the Doubledays as he will set deal. That is a swing and a miss. And a strike 1 to Noss. So 0-1 the count to Noss. That was at 87 miles per hour. So a fastball from Aluko. Noss will step back in here. Noss had an incredible play earlier in the ball game in center. Aluko 0-1. Well, now set deal. That one is in there. Cold strike 2, 90 mile per hour slider. So 0-2 the count out of Noss. No outs here in the top of the 8th. Noss trying to get on base here. And now Aluko 0-2. Well, now set, deliver, swing and a miss by Noss, and he goes down swinging. That is the 3rd strikeout for Noss of the night, and that will put 1 out here in the top of the 8th. And now that'll bring up number 22, Nick Bisaccia, the 3rd baseman. Flew out in his first at-bat, grounded out in his second at-bat. This bottom of the order, the 7, 8, 9 hitters has not been very hot tonight. Only 1 base hit combined, and that is to Christian Zealy, who got a single in his second at-bat. And Aluko will set deal. That one is in there. Cold strike 1 at 76 miles per hour. A curveball. So 0-1 the count to Bisaccia. 1 out here on the top of the 8th. Aluko now 0-1. Well, now set deal. That is upstairs and outside for ball 1, as that one even got by Sting. Count will even up at Aces Wild here. 1 ball, 1 strike, 1 out here in the top of the 8th. Aluko 1-1. Aluko now will set deal. That one is in there. Cold strike 2. 89 miles per hour inside. Aluko has just been absolutely disgusting. I mean, his pitching arsenal is nasty. There's no 2 ways about it. This has been one of the best pitching exhibitions I've seen this season. And they've got another great reliever for the Doubledays, and Michael Sills warming up in the bullpen for him. That one is swung on a driven right field side and foul. So 1-2 the count to Bisaccia. 1 out here in the top of the 8th. The thing with Aluko that I've noticed is that his pitches just move in all sorts of different directions. It can move outside, it can move inside. It's just, he is so deadly going all sorts of different ways, and then the change of velocity just makes it even harder for hitters to get anything off of him. Aluko 1-2 will set deal, swung on a driven. That is over to short and Gross. Gross will field it, throw to first in time. It is in time. That'll be a ground out by Bisaccia to put 2 outs here on the board in the top of the 8th. And now that'll bring up number 16, Christian Zeile, the extra hitter. Struck out in his first at-bat, singled in his second at-bat. Luco with 2 outs here in the top of the 8th, looking to close the door here on the Pioneers in the top of the 8th. Luco now will set deal, swing and a miss by Zeile on an 88-mile-per-hour fastball. 0-1 the count to Zeile. Luco 0-1 will now set, deliver. That is upstairs for ball 1 at 90 miles per hour. So 1-1 the count to Zeile. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. Luco now 1-1. Will now set, deliver. That is upstairs and outside for ball 2. So 2-1 the count now to Zeile, as he will take the lead in the count. That one was at 89 miles per hour. Upstairs and outside. Luco 2-1. Well, now set, deal. That one is in there, just inside for ball 3. So 3-1 the count. I am shocked that that was not a called strike 2, to be honest. But Zeile will take the call. Pioneers need all the help they can get. So 3-1 the count to Zeile. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. Zeile trying to get on with Bartenstein then the top of the order, and Presto up after him. Luco 3-1. Well, now set, deliver. That is upstairs for ball 4. And that'll be a walk for Zeile. So a runner on first here for the Pioneers, as Zeile will go over to first with 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. And now that'll bring up number 15, Brody Bartenstein, the catcher. Struck out in his first at-bat, grounded out in his second at-bat. Bartenstein needs to try and get a base hit here. He has been cold tonight, but he needs to break it right here against Aluko. As then if the Pioneers cannot do anything in this top of the 8th inning, then they will have to get 3 runs at least in the top of the 9th. Aluko will set deal. That is check swing upstairs for ball 1. They're going to call it a ball. Yes, they will, as the umpire confirms it. So 1-0 the count to Bartenstein. Also, a walk by Bartenstein would not be a bad thing. They would certainly take that. Aluko 1-0. Well, now set, deal. That one is in there. Called strike 1 on an 86-mile-per-hour fastball. So 1-1 the count to Bartenstein. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. Luco 1-1 looks over to Zeile. And now he will set, deliver. That is upstairs and outside for ball 2. That one looked like a strike from up here, but the umpire is going to give Bartenstein the call, so he'll take it. 2-1 the count to Bartenstein, as he'll take the lead. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. Luco 2-1. Bartenstein, like I said, a walk would not be bad. Pioneers would take it. Luco now 2-1. Well, now set, deliver. That is upstairs, ball 3. 3-1 the count now to Bartenstein. Like I said, a walk would be good for the Pioneers. They'll take it with the top of the order. And Presto coming up. This is exactly what the Pioneers would like. 3-1 the count now to Bartenstein. Luco, big pitch. Luco now 3-1 will set, deal. That is upstairs and outside. Ball 4. That is a walk for Brody Bartenstein. And that is back-to-back walks for Luco. That will put runners on first and second for the Pioneers with 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. And now the manager for the Doubledays is coming out to talk with Luco. It'll be number 2, Dom Presto, the leadoff man, and the shortstop up at the plate after that. And it doesn't quite look like Aluko's going to be done yet. We're going to have to wait and see. Manager hasn't taken the baseball out of his hands. So, yeah, but Aluko's going to they're going to keep him in there. They're going to ride with Aluko here with Presto up at the plate. And Presto 0 for 3 tonight. He has a strikeout in his first at bat, popped out in his second at bat, popped out in his third at bat. So Presto, even a walk here would not be bad for Presto. If Presto is walked, that would load the bases for the Pioneers. Still 2 outs here in the top of the 8th, so any out ends the inning for Aluko. Aluko now with Zealy off second will set deal. That one is in there. Called strike 1 on an 86-mile-per-hour fastball. So 0-1 the count to Presto. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. Aluko looks in, 0-1. And now we'll look over to Zealy. Aluko 0-1. Well, now set, deal. That is a hit by pitch. That's a hit by pitch for Presto, and that will load the bases for the Pioneers. Pioneers with the heart of the order coming up. And number 77, Joe Muzio, the designated hitter, is now up at the plate. He singled in his first at-bat, struck out in his second at-bat, struck out in his third at-bat. And now, bases loaded. If Muzio can get a base hit here, that would at least chip away at the lead. If he gets a triple, that would tie the ball game as Presto is the tying run at third. Aluko now. Well, now set, deliver. That is down low and outside. That gets by Stang, and Sealy is going to score. And it is now a 3-1 ball game as both runners will advance. And the Pioneers are finally on the board off of a wild pitch from Aluko. And all of a sudden, the Pioneers, with their tying run in scoring position, as Presto is now at second. So now a well-placed single by Muzio can tie the ball game. 1-0 the count to him. 2 outs in the top of the 8th. Aluko now, 1-0. Well, now set, deals, check swing. They're going to say he went. That's called strike 1 anyway. So 1-1 the count now to Muzio. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. That was an 87-mile-per-hour fastball in that last pitch from Aluko. Aluko 1-1 to Muzio. Well, now set, deal. Muzio showed bunt, and that is called strike 2 right down Broadway. So 1-2 the count now to Muzio. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. Muzio's going to have to swing and swing away here. Muzio 1-2. Aluko, the strikeout ends the inning. Aluko now 1-2. Well, now set, deal, swung on it, popped up. That is left field side, and out of play, foul. So 1-2 the count to Muzio. 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. Muzio still alive, looking for the base hit here to try and tie the ball game. Aluko 1-2. Well, now set, fire. That is outside for ball 2. On a 73-mile-per-hour breaking ball outside. So the count will now even up at deuces wild here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the 8th. Aluko 2-2. Well, now set, deal. That is in there. Called strike 3. He struck him out. And that will end the top of the 8th inning. Pioneers, they don't come up empty. They do get a run, but Doubledays, they still lead it 3-1 as the Pioneers strand 2 runners on. We go to the bottom of the 8th right after this. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the bottom of the 8th inning here. Pioneers down 3-1 to the Auburn Doubledays, and it'll be a new pitcher on the mound here in for the Pioneers here in the bottom of the 8th. It'll be number 26, Anthony Keefe, who will be making his Pioneers debut this season. Here he just arrived about a day or two ago to the Pioneers. Keefe, a 5'11", 185-pound junior right-handed pitcher at Clark University in his hometown of Plymouth, Massachusetts. I do believe Keefe is a returner. He played for the Pioneers last year, I do believe. So Keefe will be coming on here in the bottom of the 8th to try and keep this a 3-1 ball game and send us to the top of the 9th, where the Pioneers will have one last chance to tie up the ball game. It'll be the 4, 5, and 6 hitters for the Doubledays that'll be up at the plate, so not easy for Keefe. He has his work cut out for him. It'll be Stang leading off for the Doubledays, which is never an easy out. So Stang will be coming up to the plate here as Bartenstein's going to have a word with Keefe before he begins. Number 30, Bobby Stang, the catcher. He singled in his first at-bat, struck out in his second at-bat, popped out in his third at-bat. And he'll be leading off here for the Doubledays. They still lead it 3-1, so Keefe trying to go through this inning cleanly and give the bats one last chance. Keefe now as Stang will step in. Keefe now looks in, and now will step off the mound. And now step back on. Keefe now will step off again, and now there's going to be time granted. As Bartenstein wants to go over it one more time with Keefe, and so a little bit of confusion already here in Keefe's return to the Pioneers in his first appearance. Already a little bit of an interesting start, to say the least, as he's had 2 conversations with Bartenstein. Now, hopefully, they're on the same page here now. No outs in the bottom of the 8th. Bartenstein now will come back to the plate. Keefe now will set, deal. That one is upstairs and inside for ball 1 at 86 miles per hour. So 1-0. I believe that's a fastball from Keefe. So 1-0 the count to Stang. No outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Keefe shakes off one pitch. And now will set, deal. That is down low and outside for ball 2. That was 84 miles per hour that time. So 2-0 the count now to Stang. No outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Keefe 2-0 will now set, deal. That one is upstairs. Ball 3. 3-0 the count. 3 straight balls from Keefe here to start. Needs a strike here to get back into the count. Keefe 3-0. Excuse me. Keefe 3-0 will now set, deal. That one is in there. Called strike 1 at 85 miles per hour. So 3-1 the count out of Stang. Keefe 3-1 will now set, deal. That one is upstairs. Ball 4. So that'll be a walk for Bobby Stang here to lead off the bottom of the 8th for the Doubledays. So now that'll bring on number 3, A.J. Wenrich, the right fielder. Struck out in his first at-bat, singled in his second at-bat, singled in his third at-bat. So he's 2 for 3 tonight. Staying already over there at first for the Doubledays. No outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Keefe now will look in and look over to Stang. Keefe will now set, deal, swing, and a miss by Wenrich, and the count will go 0-1. So 0-1 the count to Wenrich. No outs here in the bottom of the 8th, and Stang off of first for the Doubledays. Keefe 0-1 will now set, fire, swing, and a miss by Wenrich again. This time on an 85 mile per hour fastball. So 0-2 the count now. Seems like Keefe has found the strike zone after walking Stang. Keefe 0-2. Will now set, deliver. That is upstairs and outside. A good pick there by Bartenstein. And so the count will go 1-2 now to Wenrich. That was the fastest pitch Keefe has thrown at 86 miles per hour. Keefe looks over to Stang. 1-2 now. Set, steals. That one is down low and inside for ball 2. And now Stang is going to be able to go over to second. It looks like the umpire got caught up with the baseball there. But Stang will go over to second base anyway. So 2-2 the count to Wenrich. No outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Keefe, 2-2. Shakes off one pitch. And now looks over to second and Stang. And now will set, fire. That one is upstairs and outside for ball 3. So full count now to Wenrich, 3-2. This is a big pitch here for Keefe. Does not want to walk back-to-back hitters here. He's looking for the strikeout to put one out on the board. Keefe, 3-2. Well, now set, deal, swung on up, driven in the left center. Noss coming under it. He will make the play. So Noss will catch that, and that'll be a fly out by Wenrich to put one out on the board here in the bottom of the 8th. And now that'll bring up number 16, Garrett Prosper, the left fielder. Popped out in his first at-bat, flew out in his second at-bat, and then singled in his third at-bat. It is still Bobby Stang off of second base for the Doubledays. Keefe looks over to Stang, and now will set, deal. That is upstairs and outside for ball 1. So 1-0 the count to Prosper. One out here in the bottom of the 8th. Keefe, 1-0. We'll look over to Stang, and now we'll set, deal, swung on a driven first base side. That hops over Keller's glove, and that is going to score Stang, as that is such an unfortunate play, as now, as the baseball bounced off of the first base bag itself and hopped over Keller's glove. And so now that'll make it a 4-1 ball game here with one out in the bottom of the 8th. And that is an RBI single by Prosper by pure luck, because that would have been a ground out to Keller easily had it not hit the actual first base. Keefe looks over to Prosper, and now we'll set, deal. That one is inside for ball 1. 1-0 the count to number 23, Michael Woolley, the third baseman. Singled in his first at-bat, flew out in his second at-bat, popped out in his third at-bat. Pioneers just not catching a break tonight. Keefe will set, deal. That is popped up, skied into shallow center, and Presto will come under to make the play. So that'll be a pop out to put 2 outs on the board here in the bottom of the 8th. But now the task becomes tougher for the Pioneers in the top of the 9th. They're going to have to get 3 runs in the top of the 9th, probably against Michael Sills, if I had to take a guess. And so that is not a very easy task for the Pioneers to get. And so now that I'm on number 18, Hal Walker Jr., the first baseman. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Keefe now will set, deal. That one is upstairs, ball 1. So 1-0 the count to Walker Jr. Walker Jr. 2 for 3 tonight, 2 singled in his first 2 at-bats, and then struck out in his third at-bat. Keefe looks over to Prosper off first. And now we'll set, deal, swung on a driven over to first base. That gets by Keller, and that'll be a base hit into right. And now the throw to third is not in time, as Prosper is going to be safe. And so now that will be a single for Walker Jr., and now that'll put runners on the corners here for the Doubledays with 2 outs in the bottom of the 8th. As that is once again just a tough break. That one just got under Keller and got by him. So now that'll bring up number 19, Kevin Dolan, the second baseman. Struck out in his first 2 at-bats. RBI singled in his third at-bat. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Runners on the corners for the Doubledays, who already have a 4-1 lead. Keefe, any out, will end the bottom of the 8th inning and send us to the top of the 9th. Keefe now will set, deal, swung on a pop-back foul, right field side. That is out of play. So the count will go 0-1 to Dolan. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. And the scoreboard tells the story. Doubledays, 4 runs on 13 hits. Pioneers, 1 run on 3 hits. So the bats have been silent, and you can see the offense for the Doubledays has not slowed down at all. Keefe 0-1. Will now set, deal. That one is in there. Called strike 2 right down Broadway on a fastball at 86 miles per hour. So 0-2 the count to Dolan. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Keefe, a chance to get his first strikeout and to end the bottom of the 8th. He will set, deal. That is down low for ball 1. So 1-2 the count now to Dolan. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. Runner still on the corners for the Doubledays. Keefe 1-2 looking to end the inning. Well, now set, deal, swung on it, popped up off the end of his bat. Schroeder going for it. He will not be able to make it. That is an RBI single, as that'll score, and runners are safe at second and third. That is an RBI single for Dolan, and that will make it a 5-1 ball game here now. And this one is getting away from the Pioneers. That one is just tough, as once again Schroeder just could not get to it in right. And so now, that will bring up number 34, Emil Sander, the center fielder. RBI singled in his first at-bat. Singled in his second at-bat, struck out in his third at-bat. Keefe shakes off one pitch. And now we'll set, deal. That one is in there, called strike 1. So 0-1 the count to Sander. 2 outs here still in the bottom of the 8th. But now all of a sudden the task has become even more difficult for the Pioneers. They now will need 4 runs. And runners in second and third, so the damage may not be over yet. That is down low outside for ball 1 from Keefe. So the count will even up 1-1 to Sander. 2 outs here in the bottom of the 8th. A game that looked maybe winnable for the Pioneers is slipping away from them. 1-1. Keefe will set, deal, swung on it, driven into center. Noss going back, and he will make the play to finally end the inning. So fly out by Sander will end the bottom of the 8th, but the Doubledays get 2 runs and make it a 5-1 ball game. Pioneers will be down to their last 3 outs as we head to the top of the 9th right after this. Welcome back here to the Pioneers live stream. It's the top of the 9th inning here. Pioneers down 5-1 to the Doubledays. They're down to their last 3 outs, and it'll be against the Doubledays ace closer in number 7, Michael Seals. He has a 2.02 ERA with 6 saves on his resume. He's the guy that the Doubledays go to get wins. And so the Pioneers, they will have their 3, 4, and 5 hitters up to start, but they need 4 runs at least to try and tie up this ball game. Leading off, it'll be number 10, John Schroeder, the right fielder. Struck out in his first at-bat, grounded out in his second at-bat, struck out in his third at-bat. Schroeder now looks like he's going to switch up his hitting position as he's now going into the right batter's box. Schroeder was in the left batter's box in his last at-bat. So Schroeder, a switch hitter, is switching sides this time. Sills will set deal. That one is in there. Called strike one at 91 miles per hour. I can see why the Doubledays go to Sills as he throws some really high velocity. That is tied for the fastest pitch of the night at 91. Sills now 0-1, will set, deal, swing and a miss by Schroeder on another 91 mile per hour fastball. And the count will go 0-2 now. 0-2 the count to Schroeder. No outs here in the top of the ninth. Sills 0-2 will look in. And now he will set, deal, swing and a miss. Schroeder goes down swinging on another 91 mile per hour fastball. That is 3 straight 91 mile per hour fastballs. And that is a swinging strikeout by Schroeder to put one out here in the top of the ninth. And now that'll bring up number 8, Cooper Smith, the left fielder. The Doubledays are 2 outs away from a win. And Smith, the left fielder, walked in his first at-bat, flew out in his second at-bat, walked in his third at-bat. Sills now will set, deal, swung on a driven right field side and foul. That was the fastest pitch of the night at 92 miles per hour. And now that one actually broke him bat there from Smith. Smith actually broke his bat on that pitch. And so now Smith having to go and get a new bat. And that's the reason why 92 miles per hour will absolutely break bats, ladies and gentlemen. And it just did to Cooper Smith right there. So 0-1 the count to Smith. 1 out here in the top of the ninth. Sills now 0-1. Well, now set, deal, swung on a driven over right to the second baseman, Dolan. And that is a line out by Cooper Smith to put 2 outs here in the top of the ninth. That is just unlucky, as that was straight to Dolan. He barely even had to move. And so now the Doubledays are 1 out away from a win. And now that'll bring up number 44, Chris Baird, the second baseman, struck out in his first at-bat, singled in his second at-bat, walked in his third at-bat, and you could tell the Doubledays needed this win. They needed to stay alive in the playoff race. And they are 1 out away from getting it. And that's a swing and a miss by Bear. And the count will go 0-1. And that was once again at 91. Sills has thrown nothing but fastballs. And none of the Pioneers' bats have been able to touch it. 0-1 the count. Sills now will set, deal, swung on a pop back foul. Another one at 91. Sills is just going to throw nothing but fastballs. And the Pioneers, I don't think they're going to be able to touch them. 0-2 the count to Baird. 2 outs here in the top of the ninth. 1 strike away from ending this ball game. Sills 0-2 will now set, deal. That is down low and outside for ball 1. Another one at 91 miles per hour. Sills, once again, is still throwing nothing but fastballs. 1-2 the count to Baird. 2 outs here in the top of the ninth. Sills 1-2. Well, now set, deal. That one is down low for ball 2, and that was his off speed. That is a curveball at 80 miles an hour, so that will even up the count at deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs here in the top of the ninth. Sills 2-2. Well, now set, fire, swing and a miss by Bear. He strikes out, and that will end the ball game. Doubledays win it 5-1 the final. And the Pioneers, they may not be in first place any longer, as Batavia, it looks like, are going to split against Newark, which is good for the Pioneers. But they could not take care of business tonight as they lose to the Doubledays 5-1. And looking at the upcoming schedule, they'll be back home tomorrow versus Newark for the final home game of the regular season for the Pioneers. And they'll be back on the road here at Auburn on the 29th, and probably another must-win game for the Doubledays. And so until tomorrow versus Newark, back home for the final time in the regular season at Dunn Field, I am